All right, good morning again. Ms. Matias, we are live, we are recording, we are streaming. You may proceed with today's executive review session.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals Review Session for July 28th, 2025. Please note for the record that Commissioner Shabeta is absent and Commissioner Shetter is joining us remotely. The first items up are adjournments, 2024-41BZ, 10539 Cross Bay Boulevard, Queens. Item number 2, 2025-06BZ, 8802 Northern Boulevard, Queens. Item number 3, 2024-14A, 23 Zarelli Court, Brooklyn. I'm sorry, Staten Island. I apologize. Staten Island.
Hold on a second on the Zarelli.
Okay. It's adjourned. What happened? What happened?
All right.
Keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Decision items, item number 4, 41350BZ, volume 4, 691 East 149th Street, the Bronx.
Okay. The applicant provided response to the questions that the board had asked, which was most like clarification of the submissions. Regarding the community board vote, the applicant states that the office had reached out to the community board. And I know our office also did and has also sent and the community board said that they somehow or the other had not received the package. So our office did send the package to them. Ms. Matias, do you have any update from the community board? Did they?
No, I know they downloaded the transfer of the document,
Okay.
but I have no comments from it at all, response.
Okay, so just in terms of the background, proof of initial filing was sent out in April and the notice of hearing was sent out in May. And the community board should have received all of them. And by now we know they should have also, they have received the application form. We do know that the community boards are on vacation during summer months. And I went back through the history of this case to see if in the past community board had raised any issues. And I recall from my last hearing when I was on the board back in, when is it? 2018, community board had voted to approve it. There really was not any issues that they had identified. And in this particular case now, we do not have any other use other than the automotive service, the auto sales area, the gasoline service, and now there is a building that is abutting it, which has a very high solid wall. So I think the issue of the light and other things is less of a concern, and the applicant has made the effort of fixing up the site. We had asked them to paint the parking spaces. They've also started preparing the landscaping area for landscaping because of extreme heat. The applicant said that the landscaper couldn't do any planting. So I am of the opinion that we should proceed with giving the extension of term. This would be a 10-year extension of term. But I just want to hear everybody's take on it. Are you?
I have in my notes, and I can double check the resolutions that, but while the CV may have approved it, there were objections in 2005 and in 2018. And in 2018, we received 15 letters of opposition due to poor use of the site. So while we haven't received any letters of objection this time,
Okay.
I thought it was worth noting because it was in the
No, it
resolutions.
says 20.
So the letters of objection at that time, I seem to recall.
Let me look at
Let me go
the
through my-
reso.
Let me open up my history document from the lineups. Do you remember when the hearing was in 2018?
Let's see, 2018, it was granted September 27th.
Good question.
I will look at the resolution.
I see nothing from you.
From the date of expiration, which I believe was.
Yeah, I'd just like to notify the board that the term of this grant expires November 18th, 2025.
Okay. So 2018 was granted. Do you remember the date of the resolution?
September 27th.
I think the issue was more around that used car, that enclosed area, that it was not kept in good condition. That's what I seem to recall. And it, and there was also the issue of,
It's gonna go through. See, it was downloaded Wednesday, 23rd.
opposition, illegal use of toxic site, change in the neighborhood with more housing. Cars are there all night. It's a mechanic's parking spot and there will be there were open spill cases on the site. Those were the ones that I have in my notes as the issues of opposition. And I think the spill was closed in 2017. DEC spill report shows that. And so a lot of the conditions were there was also, the concern was there was also no CO on this site for a long period of time. So yeah. Three to four, it's fixing the house. So it's really the use being contrary to what the community envisions this area to be, mostly to be of a residential in nature. And that it's, that there are no trees, shrubberies, grass.
Sorry, can you go closer to the mic?
Oops, sorry. So it says the gas station is located in a C24 R71 zoning district and it sticks out in the heart of a thriving and growing residential area. Can you hear me? The grossly out of context
Yes.
and gas station is directly across the street from a public school that serves 722 students. The gas station is directly across the street from Monsignor Robert Moore houses and just east of St. Mary's. So it's a really out of context kind of argument that the community used. Then the next one was the location is a blight and not well maintained. There are no trees, shrubberies or grass, no caution sign or any safety accommodation for many residents and children that have to traverse the dangerous stretch, extending the term of the various in the middle of the residential community of the south, which already suffers from highest rate of asthma in the nation, would be a gross case of environmental injustice. Then the other was that there's no community benefit from a toxic BP gas station in the very center of a residential. So as you can see, it was all related to out of context kind of use that's been cited, not necessarily operational aspect of it. The few operational things that I have noted down were addressed through the improvements that we had asked the applicant to do at that time of the hearing. And the DEC spill report was identified that there weren't any. And then as we know, there isn't really any automotive repair work that is happening. It's primarily a gasoline station. And then there's a portion of the lot that is fenced in where only used car sales are allowed. And that was there even before from the prior board. So with all of that in mind, I felt, and if there was going to be still that same sense of opposition coming from the community board, we would have heard it by now. This is, as you can see, if we receive so many opposition letters, the community board is very active. So I don't know. So that's my take, but I'm open to hearing everybody's concern on this. So let me know, how would you like to proceed on this? Do you want to still give the community board a time to, because if it is, it will be not before September. And I think that would be very unfair, given that they are trying to proceed with this, with their due diligence, trying to fix all the issues as we are deliberating on this.
I don't have a problem with this case. When this case came before us, the previous time, my problem was the maintenance of the site was not up to par. I think I noted dead rat on the site, I believe I remember, and it just was dirty. And they've cleaned up, at least, I haven't done a site visit for this, but as for the pictures that they submitted, the site looks clean. I think they've done everything we've asked them to do. And I also feel like we would have gotten many more community objections or this time around, as well as I think when the community board had asked for the information, they probably would have indicated to us that they found the site to be problematic still, and they did not. So I don't have a problem going forward with this.
Commissioner Shetta, I don't know if
Thank
you
you,
were.
Chair.
Fine.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Chair, you want to say something?
Yeah, do you have any comments?
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk. Sorry. No, I'm fine with the application. I believe they have done a good job responding to us and showing that the site is in a good condition. So I'm okay with proceeding with the grant. And like usual, if something arises, we can bring him for compliance.
Yes, true. We and so what I was thinking that we grant the condition with the conditions that the landscaping be improved and maintained as per approved plans and prior conditions, and that the landscaping shall be completed before obtaining the certificate of occupancy, and the certificate of occupancy must be obtained by no later than January 28, 2026. So it's on a very short leash, 6 months. If they're saying by end of August, they would be able to complete the landscaping, that should help. That should address them. And they have a TCO, so I don't know the process, but from TCO to getting to CO may not be that long of a hike. That's my thought.
Well, it certainly indicates they're moving in the right direction.
Yes, true. Yes, that is true. Yeah. Any thoughts, suggestions, any changes, any additional? Okay. I appreciate, Commissioner Yoon, your evaluation of the history, because it is important for everybody to know where the site was and what the issues were and how the board factors those in to kind of make sure that the site falls into place. So
Yeah, and I just wanted to be accurate because it is in the resolutions that there were objections noted in the past. There
you're
were
right, and
none
I overlooked that. You're absolutely
recently,
right.
so
Yeah.
that is all true, and they've been
Yeah.
given the time to give us any objections if they had any. So I was more just bringing it up to say that it was something that is recorded in all of our documents, but it seems that the site has improved, and I agree with everything that's been stated.
You're absolutely right, and that was an oversight on my part. I actually did not know the number. I was going through my old notes and I did not have that number. I just knew the opposition elements and that they were resolved, but I did not know the numbers, and that's a critical number. So appreciate it. So motion to grant 10 years extension from the time it's going to expire, or from now? How would you do it? From the expiration. Okay. Expires. Okay. Yeah.
Chair, motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
it's Vice Chair that says that. Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application is approved. Item number 5, 645 59 BZ 10 8 10824 Flatlands Avenue, Brooklyn. Oy.
Okay. Community board via an email confirmed approval of this application. So that was one outstanding element. And we also have received from the applicant the additional information or clarification of some of the information that we had asked. Is everybody okay with the submission? Okay. I would like to make a motion that we approve a 10-year extension of term, with additional condition that the site needs to be maintained free and clear of graffiti and graffiti shall be removed promptly.
Motion to approve, Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application is granted. Item number 688-81BZ, Volume 4, 3309 Richmond Avenue, Staten Island.
This is an extension of time for 1 year. We received the revised statement of facts. And everybody okay?
Mhm.
Then make a motion to approve 1 year extension of time to obtain a certificate of occupancy from the date of the issuance of the resolution.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application is granted. Item number 7, 13984BZ, Volume 2, 1887 Victory Boulevard, Staten Island.
Okay, this is an amendment. So we received the community board vote. Community board voted to approve this project. We also have a revised statement of facts. Everybody is okay with the submission? Then make a motion to approve the amendment to remove a term with a condition regarding the term. The only condition would be that any change in use would require an amendment. So they were requesting amendment to the removal of the term, and we were all okay with it. So the motion would be to remove that condition of the term, but add another condition, which is any change of use would require an amendment. Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Okay.
Motion to approve, Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 8, 101684BZ, Volume 3, 790 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn.
This is a 10-year extension of term. There was no submission required. So make a motion to approve for a 10 years extension of term and prior board conditions remain.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application is granted. Item number 9, 2017-213BZ, Volume 4, 1808 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn.
So this was an extension of time for 4 years. So motion to, there was no submission that was due. Make a motion to approve 4 years extension of time to complete construction and obtain a certificate of occupancy.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application is granted. Item number 10, 2019-206BZ, Volume 25122 Roosevelt Avenue, Queens.
There's also an extension of time for 4 years. The applicant did provide an update on the violation, and it seems the violation has been cured as of June. Make a motion to approve. Is everybody okay with the information that was provided? Okay. Motion to approve 4 years extension of time to complete construction and obtain certificate of occupancy from the date of expiry, which is going to be September of 2025.
Chair Shonda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye. Commissioner
Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 11, 2020-56 A, Volume 2, 5860 West 39th Street, Manhattan.
This is also an extension of time for 4 years. This applicant provided update that was stated at the hearing, but they provided in writing. Is everybody satisfied with the submission? And also we got an update on the violation. So which is being actively being addressed. And they expect everything should clear up by September of 25. Okay, then in that case, I make a motion to approve for 4 years extension of time to complete construction and obtain CO.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Item number 12, 2024-47A, 2315B, Demeyer Street, the Bronx.
So since the last hearing where we closed, there's been some back and forth between between DOB and the property owner. DOB wanted to ensure that the fee owner of the subject site has given the authority, and it seems a letter was provided, an affidavit was provided. We also received 2 letters of opposition from the neighbors expressing concern about the way the subjects, the building on the subject site is being misutilized according to them. And all I want to say is that how the building is being used, unfortunately, is not part of the CEO as long as it is conforming to in compliance with all the regulations. What is before the board is ensuring that the board that DOB has had issued a certificate of occupancy, which is under review at the board. And it's to determine whether that certificate of occupancy, when it was granted, was it in compliance and is still in compliance with the zoning regulations, building code, fire code, and all of the relevant applicable codes that would apply. So I appreciate the concern the board, the residents have brought. I think this really needs to be flagged to DOB or to a community board. But I'm not sure that that is something that we can address under what is before us. We also received a very late submission from DOB, basically saying they're requesting a deferral because documents have been submitted. While it seems the site, the building complies with zoning, but they have not resolved the issues regarding compliancy with building codes and fire codes and such. So it's still under review. So until those are cleared and addressed, I think DOB is requesting that we defer it. So I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So we'll defer it.
Item number 13, 2025-10A, 44 Wynot Place, Staten Island.
Okay, fire department had no comments on this proposal. That's the latest submission that according to the latest submission we had. And the statement of facts and the plans have been revised. Notes have been added regarding the builder's pavement plan and that it will be built to DOT standard, the sidewalk that is. So is everybody okay with the submission? Then I would like to make a motion to approve this GCL 36 with condition that the street and the sidewalk shall be based on a builder's pavement plan approved by DOB and built to DOT standard.
Motion to approve, Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Application has been granted. Compliance calendar 8599BZ Volume 4, 1106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay, we received a submission last Friday, in that the applicant has made some additional improvements. And I think one of the things was that in the previous submission, initially when I was looking at the review, I didn't see any update on the compliance chart. But there is also a compendium application that we are going to hear under the new SOC calendar. And that's for the extension of, that's for the extension of time, right? Yes.
Mhm.
So applicant did submit the information as part of the extension of time. In the meantime, applicant also proceeded to improve the site condition under the compliance. And the few of the improvements that they have done is remove the ice box that was in the way of the ADA pathway, and have put some potted plants in that fenced area, and have removed the vacuum machine that was at the corner. So I just want to say a few things. One is, even though this information was not provided as part of the compliance hearing, and I was reviewing it as part of the extension of time has a compliance chart, and the compliance chart is incorrect. So that needs to be updated. The landscaping plan, the landscaping as per the photos that we received as part of the extension of time is not in compliance with the approved plan. And I'm not just talking about the fenced area. I'm also talking about the area that is abutting the gas station portion, abutting the residential buildings. There's a large swath of landscape area along that lot line that does not have any plants. And these are in-ground planting. So those need to be done. This is the planting season. Please do that. I also, in that extension of time application photographs, the photographs that was submitted as part of that application, I noticed there was a small remnants of a food cart that was in that fenced area, in that fenced-in area. I don't know why that is there, unless that's going to be there, that's for repair or something, which anyway is not permitted on this site, so that needs to go. These are all poor telltale sign of what we have seen before, so please do not proceed with that. There were also other non-essential material that seemed to be in the fenced-in area, based on photo number 11 and photo number 15. Now, the ice box, while it has been removed, I appreciate that. It's not clear where that ice box is going to be located. We have seen ice box being placed in as part of these convenience stores, and they tend to be outside of the convenience store. And the question in this case is not to not allow you to have an ice box. The question is, where can you have the ice box in an area which is not going to be in the way of a pedestrian pathway, and allow for you to have the ice box in a legitimate way? I don't want us to be the policing person on an ice box. It's not that you remove it for now, and then a year later or a few months later, after the compliance has been approved, the ice box is put back into the same place. That's not the way we want this to happen. We want you to succeed, and you find a place where it can be there legally, where it will not be in conflict with all the other approvals of this board and the plans and the requirements. You have to have an ADA compliant pathway from the ADA parking area, and that ice box is in the way. Maybe it can be on the other side of the doorway. It doesn't have to be on the way from the park. So there are ways to locate it, find that place, locate the ice box, improve the plan, revise the plan to reflect that. Same thing with the vacuum. If you think you need to maintain the vacuum machine, find a location where it will not be in the way of the vehicular maneuverability, pedestrian maneuverability, and all the other functions. Don't bring it back after the compliance has been removed. So these are all just suggestions that to help you run your operation in a legal manner and not to play this hide and seek game. Also, I doubt those plants in the pots are going to survive for too long. And if it is that's there just for to meet the planting requirement, please don't do that. Either revise the plan and indicate that you cannot do any planting there because it's not possible, or it will be too costly, or whatever reason, or plant it with grass or something. So do not leave it in a position where we know it will become something that it was not meant to be. So please look into that. Those are my thoughts on that for now. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So I did go on a site visit a couple of weeks ago, And I noticed that they did cease that recycling storage business they had. They ceased the operation on the site, and they had moved the flat fix truck from the site. However, it is across the street from the site. And like I have previously stated before, I don't have any confidence that that flat fix business is going to stay off-site, given that previously when I've done site visits and noted food trucks that were on site that were then moved across the street and parked on the side, also migrated back to the site shortly after the extension was given. And so I just have to say, you know, to the owner to understand that this is really a serious business here. And I really don't like this games playing. I don't know why this owner feels that they can present themselves as complying in the hearing and then go back to non-compliance shortly after, and then figuring that they're going to be able to get away with it. This happens to be in an area, I am a Bronx commissioner, so I do pass by here quite frequently. And so I will probably find out if you move the flat fix back over onto the site, if you move the food trucks back over to the site, and if you restart your recycling storage business. I will basically catch it on one of my visits as I pass by this site. And that's just going to mean that the applicant is going to have to come back before us, which is also going to be an extra expense. So they have to seriously think whether or not it's worth it to not comply.
Okay, well, not that we want to do policing, but it seems we are being forced to.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. I agree with both of you, and I have nothing further to add.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I went by on, I think, the 23rd, which is the same date that the photos were taken with the icebox removed, which is interesting because I was there around 1:30 in the afternoon and the icebox was still on the walkway. So it's confused. I'm not sure when or how that might have happened, but maybe right after I left. I'll confirm the same conditions as already been noted. The flat fix truck is across the street. Very happily parked over there. Does seem dubious. The food truck that's in the fenced in area, unclear why that is still there. And there were two pickup trucks parked on the sidewalk with no plates.
On the sidewalk?
On the sidewalk, you know, fronting on the gas station. So that's all I have to say.
I believe we should have changed our policy to not just dated pictures, dated on time too. My God.
Got the Zola Street View photos from March 14th, 2025, which show, you know, a pretty egregious condition of on the site and around the site. So just to make clear to the applicant, the operator, the owner, when the board's talking about not using the site illegally and to illegally conduct business on the site, it includes stationing trucks on the sidewalk, in the street, and using the sidewalk abutting the site as well to perform illegal business operations. In front of the flat fix truck, there's an Air Pros truck, which is connected to, that's on the sidewalk, connected to a truck that's on the street. The business operations, whether they're permitted or not permitted, must remain within the confines of the premises and cannot flow across the sidewalk into the street.
And I would add to that, as Commissioner Yoon pointed out, that there were two trucks that were parked on the sidewalk. Whether they belong to your business operation or to someone it's your responsibility to ensure that no business operation is happening, or nobody's parking their vehicles on the sidewalks, because it's your responsibility to make sure the sidewalks is free and clear of all these impediments that can affect pedestrian flow, that can affect traffic flow. So while it may not be your, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's not your business operation, but it is your responsibility to ensure that such business operations are not happening in front of your site, and blocking your access way and becoming a nuisance from the neighbors. So if you see that level of egregiousness, you need to coordinate with community board, with the police and others if you're not able to address this issue.
And I'll also just note for the record, Uncle's Flat Fix has a business listing of 1106 Metcalf. So that's something that needs to stop.
Yeah, poses a little.
So this is, so your truck may be located across the street, but its business address is your subject site. So you need to completely remove any connections, any sort from this business operation. We have done that with U-Haul, and we will make sure you do that for this business also, because that's not what we permitted on this site. And if this is going to go on for another hearing, I'm going to completely close it and not only not grant the extension of time, I will also then revoke our approval. Because this is just becoming a cat and mouse game, and I don't want to play that.
And I want to remind the board that I recall this case from we previously granted it. One of the main issues was like having parking cars next to the residential property line. And I recall that I have like a discussion with them, whether these cars are going to fuel or just park it. And we proved it to them, and it was very crystal clear that these cars are not like fueling, they were parked there. So I believe they should be smart by this time and realize that it's not gonna fly the way they are flying it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? No?
New cases, special order calendar 24698 BZ 53-15/21 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
We received proof of initial filing and hearing notices. Community board voted to approve, but that motion failed, so it ended up being a disapproval, as I understand it. At the land use committee meeting, the discussions, at the land use committee discussion, there was opposition from the neighbors. And that was, I think it's a similar comments that we received from other such auto-related uses that are located along this frontage of Northern Boulevard, that auto sales bring no value to the community. They increase in traffic congestion and affect pedestrian safety. And in this particular case, the community raised the concern about it's not being in continuous use. There are illegal sidewalk parking for repair, business, auto sales, sidewalk parking, but having an auto sale, sidewalk parking will not be an issue. So I just want to say for the record, I'm very familiar with this site. I used to go there for my car thing, but only for leasing purposes, not for any rental, as there has been for any repair. As far as I remember from 2018, there has been no repair of any vehicles on that side. It's just primarily, it's been only for sales and lease of used and new cars. So this is an application for an amendment for a change of use from an automotive repairs and sale to automotive dealership and reinstatement of prior grant, which expired back in 2009, and also is seeking a waiver of board's rule. This application was submitted in May of 2025. And just for the record, I know this business was in operation as of last year. I would say, when did I think it was last year till December. I'm pretty sure because I renewed my lease just a few months before that. So anyway, so the site is zoned C22, and pursuant to new text amendment under the City of Yes, auto dealership is a permitted use in a C2 district, though repair service is of vehicles is not permitted. And so what the applicant is proposing is a use that would be permitted as of right. So my question is that, is a reinstatement required since the use is permitted as of right? And is then a BSA prior grant required in this case? So that's a question I have at large. My counsel just stepped away.
Costanza's hand is up.
Yes, Mr. Costanza.
Yes, Madam Chair. I think the same question was asked by staff regarding this request. The applicant, I guess, is under a different belief that because of the display of vehicles outside, that they feel that it would be objected by the Department of Buildings. But to answer your question, if the use is as a right today, then the variance could be rendered statutorily moot.
If it's happened.
But I think the applicant needs to explain as to why they believe they still need the variance here.
Yeah, I think when I was, hold on, let me look at the text. The text was not specific that it had to be indoor or outdoor, only repair was not permitted.
Or vehicle preparation.
Or vehicle preparation for, so I don't think having cars on display outside is contrary to that. And so I'm not sure why.
And just, Madam Chair, just for the board's clarity, 11.4.13 actually begins with a non-conforming use may be changed to a conforming use, and that's an as a right provision.
So automobile dealers in all automobile dealers and all other motor vehicle dealers in C2 districts or C4 through C7 districts shall not include repair services or preparation of vehicle for delivery. So it doesn't talk about display. And this is a similar thing that we did with another Toyota dealership on Northern Boulevard and Clearview Expressway, where a portion of the site was in the C2 and a portion of it was in R3. And we kind of contained our variance only to the R3 portion, where the accessory parking area of the as of right use, which is an auto showroom with an interior and an exterior display. So I'm not, and this is also in Queens, so I'm not sure why.
No, that
No.
was the Toyota one.
The Toyota, yeah. Right, whereas the
Right.
Toyota one on Northern Boulevard and Clearview was just only display. There was no auto repair on the Northern Boulevard. This was a Todd Dale case.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think application clarified that. We're just asking this question as to do you even need to be before us? And please do your due diligence for that. But be that as it may, should I continue with my comments? If it is at all applicable? Or should we?
Well, should we direct them to go to DOB and seek whether or not they could actually just give up the variance and operate
That
here?
would be the ideal. Yes, Ms. Prenger?
I just wanted to state, I had asked them this question. They submitted a letter to the board explaining. The applicant
Yeah.
submitted a letter to the board on July 8th explaining why they believe they need it, but it's not a determination or anything from DOB.
So what I understood them to say is that because they have a P under this use in a C2, and it is not a U, there is no open use allowance here
No,
as of right.
no.
But what I read is that where a use is permitted the use is permitted without size restrictions, additional conditions, or open use allowances. So I thought that as you're reading it, that this is an as of right use.
Yeah,
But yeah, the letter didn't, it just made me more confused.
Doesn't that P relate to the,
It's a permitted use
Restrictions
and it's
about-
unrestricted. There's no, it's a circle. So the use is unrestricted in that zone. From what I understand.
yeah. I think I completely, and this is what I stated, they really should get a read from DOB and get a clarification on this.
and then if relief is required from the board, it could be narrowly tailored to that portion of the zoning lot.
This entire, this site is part of a larger commercial zoning block, which has other commercial uses. So it's fully within, the entire site is fully within a commercial district where this use is permitted as of right. Unlike the other one that I was talking about, the one on Northern Boulevard, Clearview, where it is an L-shaped site and portion of the L was in the R32. In this case, the entire of the operation is in a C22 district.
I also asked Ms. Prenga to reach out to the community board to differentiate their disapproval between the two actions that are before the board, the
Yeah.
reinstatement and the change in use.
Well, I think on that one, if I seem to know the issue there is a large study that is underway along Northern Boulevard to understand what is the better use of Northern Boulevard. And that particular frontage, recently, there was a very large public school that has been built across the street. Now, I don't think that's not the issue, but the bottom line is there is a community outcry for change from auto related uses to a more residential / commercial use along Northern Boulevard. And we have in our reviews of SOC cases, there was a Kia site, if you recall, that's few blocks to the north of this site. Similar concern was raised that granting an extension of term for the automobile use would be contrary to the policy study that is underway at the community level. So I think that is the concern, and that's a very valid concern. However, that's not what board can rely on, act upon. We have to base it on whether the site is operating pursuant to code regulations that the board had outlined last time around. Yes, Ms. Prenga?
Yeah, they talked in their community board review, they discussed that the committee spoke in opposition because an auto sales business does not bring value to the community and increases traffic congestions and decreases pedestrian safety. And they cited a new high school that's opening across the street. So that was one of the things. But they did state that there was illegal parking in the past of the repair business, sidewalk parking, but now it would only be sales. So then they don't expect the sidewalk parking to be an issue due to the change of use. So that's part of their change of use discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Carlo.
Yes, Mr. Costanza?
Yes, no, Madam Chair, I think just for the clarity for the applicant, I think the first prong is that, again, is this needed any longer? And I think to Council Pine's point, in the event that it is, and it's determined, it truly limits the scope of why it's needed. So in essence, most of this site would be as a right. with the exception of that prohibition of outdoor display. And again, I think just for the community's concern, this is a pre-1961 variance. So I just wanted to set up the facts.
Thank you. Thank you. Next case?
Oh, wait.
Okay, sorry.
I just wanted to add something else to the conversation. They aren't allowed to have vehicle preparation, however, and they say they're not going to in the statement in the beginning. However, page 3 of 6 of the statement of facts and findings says there will be preparation of vehicles for delivery and no repair or service. So I just want to understand why they're saying two conflicting statements.
Okay.
Yeah, and Commissioner LeBron, I think we've in the past looked at the prep for the vehicles as also like the servicing of vehicles, like, you know, you bring it into a dealership for an inspection and that type. So I don't know how distinguishable just the preparing the car for shipment or something like that necessarily rises to the level of it's prohibited. Oh, excuse me.
Zoning resolution prohibits vehicle preparation.
Yeah.
It doesn't say vehicle servicing, it says vehicle preparation.
Yeah, there is a distinction
Yeah.
between those two words the board, the zoning resolution has made. Yeah.
And so they're saying on the one hand, we won't have vehicle preparation so that they could be in line with the as of right use according to the zoning resolution. But then on page 3, they say they will have vehicle preparation, but no repair or service. And then they go on to say the more noxious use of auto repair is being eliminated.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that clarification needs to be made.
Mhm.
Thank you. And any other questions or comments, Commissioner Shetak?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments, just in case if they want to continue this application, they need to indicate the lot and the block number in the statement of facts. Also, they need to address the violations in the statement. And one of the community board members, I did read through the community board report, and he was opposing to the application, and he said that the photos submitted to like attest for the continuous use were not accurate. I look when I looked at the pictures they submitted to us as part of that continuous use thing, I noticed that there was like no dates on them. So I just need him to clarify that the statement from the community board member, and they need to add dates and like to the pictures they submitted to us. If in case this application is gonna continue before us. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I'll just add that continuous use, I did notice a gap between 2007 and 2012. And that the signage seems to state much higher numbers for what's permitted. They should be pursuant to C2 regulations. So should this continue, you need to revise your signage per frontage according to the current regulations.
You have addressed, both of you have addressed my comments. Thank you. Move on.
8599 BZ, Volume 5, 11106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx.
So this is the part 2 of that application. This is for an extension of time. So the applicant said that they have proceeded at DOB, but DOB has not approved it. A PA has been submitted as of March of this year. But they need the extension of time. And there are 3 open oath violations related to zoning and construction. My sense of this is that I will only consider proceeding with the extension of time. I'm in conflict, honestly. I'm in conflict. Is should we hold off on extension of time until they correct the site? And then when we think they are close enough to addressing most of our concerns with regards to compliance, then we can consider granting the extension of time for them to obtain the CO, yet keep the compliance open and monitor it for another period of time. And if the compliance seems to issues have been resolved, then we can remove the compliance. Or we just grant the extension of time now and hold on the compliance application until they resolve the issues, including getting a certificate of occupancy, which was also one of the conditions. So I'm open to suggestions. I think they're given the unfortunate history of this site and what we are noticing, this cat and mouse, even now that is happening. I am not sure which will give us the longest and the best outcome. So I'm definitely willing to hear any thoughts and suggestions on this. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So I don't have any problem with them getting an extension of time to get their C of O. My problem is with the compliance. So I believe that they could whip the site into compliance to get their DOB inspection and sign offs for a final C of O. The question is what happens the day after? And so that's why I don't want to close the compliance hearing. I would like to keep that open probably into perpetuity with these guys. But I definitely think they should take their steps at the very least to get their C of O.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Shetta,
I agree, and I have nothing further to add.
agree with Commissioner Otley Brown's
Yes.
position?
Unless one of the the findings, I would say, I know there are no findings here, but if one of the the essential elements of the extension application is to be in compliance already. This, I believe, if this is the case, this would be a problem for us granting the extension without making sure that they are complying. So I look at it from a legal perspective, actually.
Commissioner Yoon?
I agree with Commissioner Otley Brown, and I think that if we keep the compliance hearing open and are able to monitor their progress on the C of O, it would document whether or not they're able to prosecute the application and actually obtain it. I think we need to keep the compliance hearing open.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Zoning calendar, new cases, item number 17, 2025, 13BZ, 1946 Bruckner Boulevard, the Bronx.
So just so you know, this is one of the two uses that are going to be located on the same zoning lot, but these are two separate users, operators, and they will be evaluated separately under the same special permit. But some of the documents are for consistency and what's the term? I keep forgetting. Segmentation to ensure there is no segmentation, especially with regards to the environmental review. We have received one set of joint applications for that purpose. So we received proof of initial filing and hearing notice. Community board voted to approve with conditions, and the conditions are a mix of many. One is re-engineer the current plan to combat vehicles driving through the parking lot as shortcut to avoid White Plains Road. Set aside space for community events that won't affect restaurant operations, traffic safety study in conjunction with Community Board 9 and DOT, disability and special needs accessibility study in conjunction with Community Board 9, public safety and retail theft analysis and plan with our office and NYPD, advocate MWBE, and a local contractor, local workforce hiring, and support community initiatives. I think some of the community board conditions are not within the purview of this action that is before the board. The applicant, as a goodwill gesture, may proceed to continue to work with the community board in addressing issues that are related to hiring, local workforce, local contractors, providing ADA, disability special needs study, setting aside space for community events and various other studies that the community board identified. My question was the issue of why the site needs to be re-engineered to combat vehicle driving through parking lot as a shortcut to avoid White Plains Road, and how that will affect the two proposed applications. And that is within that context, I want to understand that question and the issue and how this site operates currently. I believe it is vacant, so I don't know if there's a misuse that's happening or this has been always an ongoing issue with this site. So that's a question I have from the applicant and anybody from the community board who is calling it, would be calling it. So this is a special permit application pursuant to zoning resolution section 73-311 for an accessory drive-through to an as-of-right eating and drinking establishment located in a C41 zoning district. This site is part of a large shopping complex known as the Bruckner Commons. It's a multi-block commercial center, and this is one part of it, which is kind of it has two street frontages, map street frontages, Bruckner and White Plains, and there is a non-map street, DMAP street, which is called Story Avenue, but it runs through the entire length of the site and connects to the Story Avenue that is mapped on either end. So this is an eating and drinking establishment for Chick-fil-A. Commissioner Otley Brown, you can enlighten us on this one. And so this is a very interesting one. The applicant is proposing a 32 reservoir space with using 2 parallel lanes and with 2 menu boards. So going through the findings, finding A, as I stated, 32 reservoir spaces are being proposed when 10 are required. And this is going to be accommodated using 2 queuing lanes, and that'll be 12 vehicles per queuing lane. And also during peak period, staff will take online orders and also deliver to the drive-through customer. So this is one of the many lane busting system that Chick-fil-A will be using, in addition to dining in and picking up, like placing an order through mobile, parking in the parking lot, and then picking up from the pickup window. So I'm satisfied with A finding. With regards to B finding, the access to the drive-through and the eating and drinking will be from the existing parking area. And in this case, the applicant states for this particular operation, the curb cut, the existing curb cut on Bruckner Boulevard will be used and Story Avenue will be used. Now, according to the plan, the existing curb cut of Bruckner Boulevard will be widened to 35-foot width. No changes proposed on Story Avenue. And the applicant states that based on the traffic assessment that was done, for the accessory drive-through, the queuing would occur within the proposed reservoir spaces. It won't spill over even into the common parking area for the shopping complex. I have a few comments. One is, please ensure that the narrative is consistent with the plans regarding curb cuts. Though this portion of Story Avenue is a private road, I'm assuming it is open to public at all times. The circulation plan assumes vehicles will be entering and exiting only from Bruckner Boulevard. So my question is there any reason for not considering Story Avenue? And also, please know that this is not consistent with the way the statement of fact is written, because the statement of fact is talking about using Bruckner and Story Avenue, whereas the plan is only showing maneuverability to and from Bruckner Boulevard. So please make sure both the documents are,
I'm thinking they're probably mixing it with the other.
is consistent.
Yeah.
Also provide the width of the Story Avenue curb cut on this plan. Applicant provide a traffic assessment. And as I mentioned, it has been done for both of these eating and drinking establishment that is proposed on the subject side. There is also another retail use that's going to be located on the subject side. So the applicant did a comprehensive analysis for all the uses that are going to be located on this portion of the shopping mall. And according to the analysis, there will be negative increment. And regarding the queuing assessment, applicant used a methodology that DOT has been requiring applicants to provide. I have just a few questions on that. One is regarding the peak hourly demand. The applicant assumed a 50% basically assume that of the peak hour period demand, 50% will be using the drive-through and 50% for the dining in and for pickup. I would like the applicant to clarify how did they arrive at that split? Was that established through market analysis, sample sites, or survey? So it would be good to know that information because my reason for asking that question, there was a similar type of fast food application that the board had recently seen. It was not Chick-fil-A, another chicken place where the board saw over 60% for a drive-through split. So I just kind of want to get a read on that. Also, it is not clear to me which peak hour rate was taken for the from the traffic assessment report. In the traffic assessment report, when I was going through it, based on table 4, the most peak volume is going to be on a Saturday. And I don't know if that was the volume that was used. If that's the peak volume, which is 226 vehicles, 50% of that is not 55, which is what has been used for analysis purposes. So I just want to understand where that number in the analysis chart 55 is coming from. So with regards to the character of the street frontage, as I mentioned, this site is part of a larger shopping complex, and the subject site is surrounded by immediate area. It is surrounded by commercial uses extending along White Plains all the way from Bruckner to Turnbull. With regards to the adverse impact to residential, the nearest residential development, as the applicant stated, and as I looked through the maps, is more than 200 feet from this commercial portion of the building, of the site. And I would say, given the surrounding context, I would agree with the applicant that on this particular site, an AQ analysis may not be applicable, may not be needed. But I'm open to hearing discussions from my fellow commissioners on this one. With regards to buffering, while the site does not abut any residential development, the applicant is proposing landscaping along 2 street frontages, in this case, White Plains and Bruckner, which does enhance the streetscape overall. So I'm satisfied with that submission in that. But my only question is with regards to number 2. B finding, that is. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So actually very familiar with this area. I grew up a few blocks from here. Very familiar with this shopping center, which when I was young had an EJ Corvettes as its anchor store, which was only people my age
Aging us.
and over would remember. It was for you, it was a department store, a cut
Yeah, like
rate
a Macy's,
department
Macy's.
store, right? Yeah, like
Yeah.
Macy's.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of it, yes.
I would say that this, because of the issues facing retail and facing department stores and outdoor malls, indoor malls across the country have hit this site hard. And if you go to this site, it currently is pretty much a disaster. It's fenced off. There's actually a use here where the Toys R Us that closed is now
yeah,
some
yeah.
kind of a vehicle storage area for, I don't know if it's deep, repossessed vehicles or traffic infraction vehicles or something, some kind of impoundment lot, but that's what it's being used as currently. Certainly not a benefit to the neighborhood. And while people could argue back and forth whether or not fast food is good for a neighborhood, seeing this site develop with something, to me, is a plus. It's resurrecting a ghost town of a site and making it a viable commercial site. So I applaud that. As for the operations of Chick-fil-A, I've always stated that Chick-fil-A, because of its increasing popularity, has really perfected movement of lines through their drive-through operations. Their line busting techniques are unequaled in the industry. They're really great, and I expect that they're going to work here perfectly to keep that line down so that the cars in the reservoir will not flow out onto Bruckner Boulevard. I don't expect that to happen. So I'm actually pleased with the siting of this site, the development of the site, the design of the site to enable 32 reservoir spaces, which is 3 times the city minimum. So I don't think that there are going to be any issues. I'm a little puzzled by the community board's statement that they want the site reconfigured to prevent people from using the site as a shortcut to avoid White Plains.
I couldn't figure out how the traffic would navigate. Where would they be shortcutting from?
I guess they figure people will come down Story Avenue, enter the parking lot, and then cut across both parking lots and go out on Bruckner
Oh.
Expressway. But I think that that might be an issue that would be in place, probably was in place historically and will continue to be in place no matter what the use is, as long as you have a Story Avenue running right through the entire shopping center and you have curb cuts that are on Bruckner Boulevard. I think you would always have the situation where people would try and shoot through. I don't think it's anything that they could redesign their site to avoid, being that the Chipotle is primarily going to be using the Story Avenue curb cut. They need a curb cut. And Chick-fil-A would primarily be using the Bruckner Boulevard curb cut. They need a curb cut. And sure, as there will be some people who are like, oh, I could just shoot through. But I don't know how you would avoid that.
Yeah, and I think this operation, I mean, one forgets that this portion of Story Avenue from White Plains to south, to the east, I'm sorry, is DMAP Street. It is portion of the shopping complex. So the portion of the shopping complex is one side of Story Avenue, and this portion that is proposed is on the other side and Bruckner. So if I were to shop on the other side of the shopping complex, I have the full authority to go through this site and then exit onto Bruckner, which is the normal operation of the shopping complex. So I was a little puzzled also as to what was the concern. And would it not be in some ways better? You're taking away the traffic volume from White Plains, which has its own stress of the commercial use and operation that is running up and down White Plains. So I just, yeah, and I don't go there very often. I've gone by it, so I just was not very sure the exact nature of the concerns. I appreciate your input on this very much. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. I'm satisfied with the application. I just have two minor comments and a question, actually. I haven't seen in the statement like any mention of violations. Are there any? So this is the first of my question. And the second one is there any previous BSA history that should be mentioned in the statement? My question actually is related to the sound analysis, and I first of all I want to mention that sound analysis on this side, and lumen spread most likely not needed. I wouldn't ask for forum on a site like this, but just for my curiosity, I noticed that there are 2 menu boards for the site, and the sound analysis seem to like put the propagation separately. So my question to the engineer who ran the analysis Is that right to like just make them like two separate menu boards, or should be like an addition to the decibels? And if there is any addition that need to be done, how it's done? If they have like an answer to that, it would be like an educational part for me. Thank you. But it's they are not required to answer that question if they don't want it to. Thank you.
Saw that, and my thought was that maybe just a note be added that AVC will be on at all time, because the sound propagation from this is not going to be facing any residential use. It would be facing Bruckner Boulevard. So
I'm
whether
not asking even for this note to be there. Noise on a site like this is not a concern for me. I don't think it's going to be any propagation outside the site, but it's for us. The reason I'm asking this, we may face something with double menu board like this, but next to a residential. So if I want to know the way it's done, should it that the decibel that they put on the plan appear to be like they are two menu boards in two separate sites? But the way it is, they are very close to each other, so it should be some like addition to the decibels. And if there is, if I'm correct, my question to them is how this addition is done. It's kind of like an educational component to me, rather than it's a requirement from them to like provide an explanation.
I'm also wondering whether we should even have this information on the plan.
Yes, that's what I said. That the noise analysis plan and the luminous spread are not needed. They can eliminate them if they want. Not to confuse the future boards.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. I had no real comments about the proposed design. I also didn't understand the comment from the community board about using the parking lot as a cut through. It seems like the parking lot itself would be, and I went to the site. The parking lot's gonna be plenty busy, so I don't know that people can actually shoot through. But if there's a concern, maybe adding speed bumps or some other deterrent so that it just slows people down, if that's actually the concern. Something simple like that could maybe alleviate those concerns. The impounding lot is 5J's Automotive Impounding. Pretty sure that's not an as of right use here. I think that's only allowed in C8. There are 2 complaints that have been resolved on Biz. And I will say there are no open violations, because I was looking at the complaints that both distinctly say that there is no towing business occurring here, but it's actively a towing and impounding business, it seems, based on my site visit. So just want to note that for the record, that I don't think this is an as of right use. Provided that we go through and approve this, that's obviously going to be gone, but I don't think it should be there.
Agree. Thank you. This is all very helpful. Thank you. Next case, please.
Item number 18, 2025, 14BZ, 1911 Story Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay, we received proof of initial filing and hearing notices to save time. It's the same set of conditions that we received from community board, voted to approve with conditions. I have same comments as I did with the previous one. This is a special permit application. And in this case, instead of Chick-fil-A, it is Chipotle, with a very interesting operational method that is being proposed. And the operational method in this case is that there won't be any menu board. So, and the drive-through will have 13 spaces and all orders will be done via mobile app. So since this is kind of new, I would like to understand how it is done. Is it I go and stand in the queuing line, go into the drive-through queuing line while I'm placing the mobile order, and then I go around and get to pick it up? Or when I leave my home, I place the mobile order and then I go and join the queuing of the drive-through and then pick up my order. So I just want to understand that. It's a very interesting new process and always a learning experience for this for us, and especially the industry, how it changes and accommodates the needs. So going through the findings, the applicant is proposing 13 reservoir spaces. It is more than what is required. And that is why I'm asking the operational question. Since it is so different from the others, I want to understand, I'm assuming turnover time will be much quicker than other operations. So I want to understand how that is being done and how it will be able to accommodate. The 13 spaces will be adequate. I have similar question with regards to finding B, which is regarding access, and that is the peak hour demand % that has been used. In this case, the queuing analysis chart assumed 27 peak hour demand, whereas it seems based on the table 4 of traffic assessment, Saturday is the peak period, where there will be 112 vehicles. So I want to know, using a 50% split, how 27 peak is being arrived at. With regards to, again, with the C, it's part of the super block, same statement as I made in the previous one. With regards to D, again, given the context, I don't think an air quality analysis is needed. And same thing with regards to the soundboard, I don't think in this case also is needed. With regards to finding the screening, applicant is proposing landscaping along 2 frontages. And only thing I would in this case say that even though Story Avenue is not a map street, it is part of the shopping complex, wouldn't it be wonderful if street trees can be planted along Story Avenue for this frontage, and it would actually enhance the streetscape even more. And so that is just a suggestion. Even though that's not required as part of the buffering, there's no residential use around that. But it's just one of my goodwill wishes to ask. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So this is interesting, and I agree with you because I've never seen this kind of operational plan surrounding a business with a drive-through. And I was just wondering if there is a certain trigger that allows people to get on the drive-through line, which might be that you place your mobile order, and when you get a text back that says your order is ready, then you could get online, because otherwise I foresee a lot of confusion, because there, as you said, there would be people who may order from home and then drive over, and people who stop in the parking lot and quickly order. And if somebody in front of you has placed their order well after you, you could hold up the entire line. So that's why I'm wondering exactly how this is going to work. If it's the way in which I first stated, that you don't get on the line until you get some kind of a text saying your order is ready, then I would assume that some of these 50 parking spaces that I'm counting would be used as more of a reservoir area where people can just pull into the parking lot, park in a parking space, wait to get the text, and then get online. And so a lot more information about how that's going to work.
So you're saying you're counting all the parking spaces that are in that portion of the shopping
that are
complex?
in that portion of this zoning lot that has the 3 retail stores. I'm thinking that might be a way in which they're planning for this to be successfully implemented.
Well, in that case, we cannot bifurcate. There is another existing use as of right, which is not before us, and there is the prior case, Chick-fil-A. So both are relying on using the parking space.
Well, some of them.
Right.
Like for instance, the store in the center has its own set of parking spaces for its operation. And I'm not sure that those bleed into the ones I'm talking about for Chick-fil-A, and certainly don't bleed into the spaces for the retail that we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, so I think that I would like to know
Yeah,
that. Is
so
there
they
any
would-
signage that separates out, this is Chipotle pick
Right, or like
dining,
this is
right.
waiting spaces for Chipotle only or whatever. It would be helpful to have all that additional information, because that would help us to judge whether or not they've set up enough spaces, both reservoir and parking spaces, to accommodate their business,
Mhm.
basically. And that's the only question I have for this one.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetty?
Thank you, Chair. I share your comments. In addition, I need him to address the violations in the statement and tell us in the statement if there is any previous BSA history. But I agree with your comments. We should know about the mechanism on how people would know that their order is ready, or it's just like Dunkin' Donuts, you can order through the app while you're actually lining up in the drive-through lane. So it would be like helpful to understand how it works in this case. Thank you.
Commissioner Yoon?
Thank you. The only thing I'll add is, if the applicant could let us know if this model exists already somewhere.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, this concludes the review session for July 28th, 2025. It is 11:26.
So make it 11:30. Should we take a 10-minute or 15-minute break? 10? So 40.
We will resume at 11:40, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Vegetarian, but there's something about that crispy fried exterior.
Mr. Bott, is there something you'd like to
Okay, good morning again. We're about to proceed. Members of the board, please ensure your microphones are on.
Commissioners, please make sure your mics.
Okay, Ms. Matias, we are live, we are streaming, and you may proceed with today's public hearing.
We're doing compliance.
Yes,
Yeah,
we are
okay.
starting with the compliance.
Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals public hearing for July 28, 2025. Please note for the record, Commissioner Shabeta is absent and Commissioner Sheta is participating remotely. Compliance calendar 8599BZ, Volume 4, 1106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx. Why I have problems with that?
Okay, Michael Lewis.
I know,
I
right?
see
It's like so
Michael
stupid.
Lewis. Do I see Daniel?
Daniel Ash.
I see Daniel Ash, Michael Lewis, and Elvis
I know.
Kalaja. Okay. Are there anyone else from your team?
Yes, Commissioners, there should be Associate General Counsel Deanna Wasco as well.
Who?
Deanna Wasco.
Deanna Wasco. Okay, sorry. Yes.
Deanna Wasco declined joining the meeting. I'll invite one more time. Elvis Kalaja also declined.
We can proceed, Madam Chair, with the attendees.
Okay, proceed then.
Wait, let me, hold on.
Did
Swear them in.
anybody sworn in?
Please raise your right hands. Oh, wait, now she's coming in.
Who?
Ms. Wasco? Anyone else? Is this gentleman Elvis Kalaja coming in or not? Yes, no, last call. Okay. Please raise your right hands. Ms. Wasco, please, if you're going to. Thank you. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session, whoever is the lead.
My name is Daniel Ash from Walter Gorman Engineering. I'm joined today by Michael Lewis, the Deputy General Counsel for Global Partners, and Deanna Wasco, the Associate General Counsel for Global Partners. We did listen to the board's pre-hearing today, and we discussed the items that you brought up during the compliance hearing. We want to talk first about the ice box, the ice machine that has been removed from the site, and there is no intent to put it back anywhere else on site. So we're not looking for any additional locations to move that.
So I just want to be absolutely clear and for the record that this convenience store will not be using any ice box anywhere with outside its convenience store at all, ever in future.
That is correct.
Okay, please note, the record shows that the applicant said it will never be used. And if there is going to be any ice box, it will be within the building. Okay?
Yes. You also brought up an issue about the area that was abutting the residential lot line, missing planting. I think there was some confusion because of how many responses here with the extension of time case and the compliance hearing at the same time. The original documents from early July showed that there was no plantings there, but the more recent photographs do show that there was planting there.
Ash, I'm not incorrect at all. The compliance drawings, the photos that you provided show potted plants in the fenced area all the way in the rear, and I'm in the rear. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in-ground planting that was there along the residential lot line outside of the fenced area. And there is significant amount of gap where there is no landscaping, and that I'm getting from your photos that were submitted as part of the extension of time.
I could share my screen to show you the photos that we had, but we could also make sure that we get you new photos that show very clearly as
I
part
was
of our
specifically
response.
looking at photo number 11 and photo number 15 from the extension of time, which showed that there were no plants along that lot frontage, not lot frontage, along the side lot line that is closer to the gasoline service area. I'm not even going into the fenced area.
You're correct. That was from the extension of time. Then the compliance photographs for the compliance hearing post-date those ones.
Okay, I did not see it, but it would be helpful if you can correct me. Thank you. Do share your photos.
Yes. Okay. This photo is from July 8th, so here you can see along. This is the best one that I had that showed along the lot line. This is the area that was bare under the so the first photos in July 1st, you could see where it was bare along that side. That's the area. This is the area you're referring to along the
Yes.
lot line? Yes. It was at that point it was bare, and then in this more updated photograph, you could see plantings were made.
Can you zoom into the back of the thing? Because that's where the gap is mostly with the landscaping. Okay.
Yes, it's buckling.
Oh, yeah, and the fence is collapsed.
Buckling on the middle.
I have another view too that I can share once
Okay.
it's done.
Yeah.
That might
Okay.
help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me just pull up from my site visit last week. That does show that there's planting here.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So thank you for correcting my mistake. Appreciate it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
But you are, for the area within the fenced-in area, you are correct. Where we put the potted plants, and we wanted to review with you now so that we're clear on direction. The potted plants are put there because that area, well, it may not have been clear on older drawings, is a concrete area over there. So in the drawings, the previous drawings had called for plantings, but because it's a concrete floor over there, we thought that putting in potted plants might provide the coverage with the plantings without requiring them to do a very costly concrete removal and landscaping work over there.
Okay.
So revise our drawings to indicate that.
Can I make a suggestion? If you're going to provide potted planting, because those potted planting, they're going to be moved around and eventually people will lose track of it. If you're going to provide not in-ground planting, but provide above-ground planting, provide a more permanent above-ground planting structure where these plants can be there above ground and cause minimum disruption, banging and movement, and because that's not healthy for the plants. So if you're going to do that, I understand that you don't want to break the concrete and pave it. I understand the cost associated with it, but in return, provide above grade planting, not potted. But there are ways of doing it. You provide 3 foot, 2 foot minimum ground in and above through using like a brick wall or something like that. There, we have seen some used timber as a way to hold planting, and then you plant in that, and that would be another way of doing it. But potted planting is extremely temporary, and they really are, they're not, those trees actually, I'll be honest with you, those are things that I would get from Home Depot and then eventually put it into the ground. If they're going to stay on that pot, in that pot, they're not going to survive. So if you're going to make them survive, you have to provide a little bit more permanent above ground structure for these plants to survive. So talk to a landscaper, figure out the appropriate depth and width, soil width you need for those potted plants to be planted above ground, but in a more permanent manner. And revise the plan accordingly.
Okay. And then a common concern amongst many of the commissioners was regarding the uncle's flat fix. We've ensured that it's not on site, as you noted, it's not located on the site, and the dealer has been told that they cannot have anything on site. It was news to us that the business address is still listing this address. So we will discuss that, but our bottom line is that that truck should be nowhere near the site, not across the street, not parked on the site, nor on the sidewalk, and that we're going to get to the bottom and ensure that that remains the case.
Right, thank you.
And then Commissioner Euron mentioned about some pickup trucks on the sidewalk. We're trying to find out. We know that wasn't there during our weekly compliance, but it's very possible, and sure it was there when you visited the site, whether it was a customer that just parked there and then left later on. But
There are no license plates. How would the customer get the truck on site?
I only know that the trucks were not there in the times that I've been on site or my office has been, but I don't know why they were there at that time.
Okay, I don't think that's, I'm going to suggest that you get a camera, TV, or a camera to watch who is parking there and at what time, monitor it and prevent that from happening. Because it's kind of surprising that every time one of my commissioners goes to the site, they're seeing something always in violation of what the board had granted. It's like, it's always a hit. So something is happening. And I appreciate the monitoring and the effort that's putting in, but maybe that's not adequate. You need to do more, and you need to figure out an operational plan that ensures that this will not happen. Because I think the word is out there. You can do anything you want. Nobody's going to stop you from doing anything. And that spell has to be broken, and it can only be broken by you. Or otherwise you can be in compliance all throughout, and we'll keep calling you every 6 months. That can be done too.
I mean, it just, to me, it shows a lack of respect for this board, and it also shows a lack of respect for the neighborhood.
And I hate to say this, this is not something that we have said for the first time. This same sentence in my record for many, many, many hearings for the last several years. And it's unfortunate that we have to keep repeating that, especially for this site. And Council Vine just pointed out that we had put in.
I have my notes from the December 3rd, 2018 review session and December 4th, 2018 hearing on this matter. The review session states, the board stated at the review session, proposed landscaping needs to be combined with the main set. All planting needs to be removed and replaced, but work was never done. Work needs to be done before we decide this. Condition of prior grant was ignored. 2 sets of proposed vacuum, air pump against residential property lines. Landscaping is on either side of it, but is not shielding. No pics provided. And then the next day at the hearing, it was represented that the owner had retained a private landscaper, submitted shrubbery drawings. The board said the applicant said, what we want to do is incorporate the shrubbery into those drawings into our proposed condition drawings. It's not installed already because the client wants to know it's an improvement in the board's eyes. And then the board stated, BSA is happy with the landscaping plan. We want to see you back after the planting has been done. That was back in 2018.
So again, this is like a rinse and repeat, and I don't want you or your client to have to spend money to come before us every 6 months to correct the wrong. There should be no wrong. And this is not the first time you're hearing it. I'm just getting tired of saying this over and over again. And like I said, if I really do not see this being corrected, I mean, based on what my fellow commissioner is saying, yes, I will let the extension of time go through, but that still that gives us the right still to not issue the permit and revoke the permit. So do take us seriously.
There's a Mr. Kalajan.
He needs to be sworn in.
Yeah.
For him to speak.
Yeah. Want to let him in?
Yeah. Yeah, let him come in.
Okay. Oh, there he is. Okay. Mr. Kalaja, could you unmute and bring your,
Yes,
let me, before you say anything, let me swear you in. Do you affirm to, raise your right hand? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
yes.
Okay, state your name for the record and proceed to speak. Go ahead.
My name is Elvis Kalaja. I'm the upper site here at this site. Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
Um, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon. I was hearing about the trucks at the sidewalk. Can you provide me the time, and I can provide you the cameras, which is not, that's has nothing to do with us. Can you provide me the time when you guys saw it and the day? Because what happens with them is they do towing basically because the highway is very.
Okay, Mr. Kalaja, it is not whether it's it's the truck that is associated with the business operation or not. It's your responsibility to make sure any vehicle that is parked abutting the sidewalk of your subject site is maintained free and clear of any vehicles, whether they're associated with your business operation or with someone else. That's your responsibility.
Yes, which we understand, and I keep telling them all the time. But unfortunately, sometimes these guys they don't understand because it looks to them normal. Because so I'm on top of it every day. But I'm sure what I was trying to say is, in that particular time.
Mr. Kalaja, I'm sorry. All I'm saying is that if this is an ongoing problem you're having and it has nothing to do with your business, you need to talk to NYPD. You need to talk to the community board. You need to talk to the local council member. You need to constantly monitor and make sure nobody is doing what they're not supposed to do and putting you in trouble if that's the issue. Just there's a condition that we have placed, you have to meet that condition. We do not care whether that vehicle belongs to you or to someone else. It's your responsibility to make sure that sidewalk is clear of vehicles.
The premises. Here we go. The premises can't be operated or maintained in a way that invites this sort of activity or presents that there's an opportunity for this activity to occur at the premises here. And as the board's been mentioning by way of landscaping and other remedies, there might be an architectural solution that needs to be executed to prevent this type of activity.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions or comments?
Oh, regarding the flat fix, I didn't know that too. So I'm gonna ask them to be removed because it's nothing to do with us. And the food cart that you guys mentioned, yes, it can be easily removed. To be honest, that was mine. I bought it a long time ago, but I'm just gonna toss it away anyway because doesn't do anything at all. I just didn't have the right time. I'm gonna remove it probably this week, and we're gonna provide you pictures that it's been removed from the backyard. Thank you.
And I just want to make sure there won't be any ice box outside the convenience store. You're you understand that?
No. Correctly. It's not gonna be never. Though you guys have to be 100% for that. It's good. We understand it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. I'll just add that the vehicle that was being worked on the sidewalk seems to be an air vehicle, which appears in multiple Zola Street View photos, Cyclomedia Street View photos, with them shown on the sidewalk on March 14th, 2025, and then being located wholly within your site August 23rd, 2024. Air Pros doesn't seem, unlike the Uncle's Flat Fix, doesn't have a business address at this location, but from Street View, seem to heavily have a presence at this location.
It's a van called Air Pros. I know what it is. He used to live in the building close, and he used to park right in the front of the sidewalk, and I towed it 2 times actually, the truck, in blue and white.
Okay.
I told that van, it's not here anymore. If this was before, it's not here anymore. I told that van like 2 times. It's a working van, they do AC.
That's not what I saw when I was there.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
this is long time that I told.
did not see the Air Pros truck on the site when I was there.
Yeah, he used to park it here without our consent, and 2 times I told this guy. But this is long time ago, I think. If the commissioner passed now, I guess you saw towing, right? That they do towing for cars?
No, I just saw two
With a-
pickup trucks that were unmarked with no license plates parked on the sidewalk.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's usually they do towings, they have plates, but they keep them on the window. I know both of the persons, it's one green and one dark black, correct?
No, I think I don't want
If it-
to, get into the specifics. The bottom line is there's a persistent problem on this site.
So,
Whether today it's 2 marked licensed cars, or tomorrow it's a flat fix, or tomorrow, day after tomorrow, it's a Protect, whatever, there is a problem. So please reevaluate your operational
course.
plan, reevaluate your method, and figure out a solution.
just the last question. In case of this happens, Miss Lady Commissioner, what should we do? Like, to who we can concern it? Who we gonna speak with so we can fix this? Because again, same as you guys, I'm here till 5, 6. Then I
Lawyer.
have to go to my family, right? So if this guy comes and parks, how should I fix it?
You have 3 lawyers representing you. So one is a local lawyer who should know the New York City system, who should know how to guide you to issue complaints, file complaints, 911. You can call the community board, NYPD, local council member. There are many ways to make everybody aware of the issue and get them all together to work with you to address this issue. If you're not single-handedly able to do that. The other is you have your staff standing there telling them leave, or you send them a warning sign based on legal guidance and allowance that you can exercise. So I cannot give you that advice. Your lawyers should be giving you that advice as to within the purview, what your authorities and abilities, rights are.
If vehicles are illegally parking on your sidewalk, you call 911 and have them towed. If they're unauthorized vehicles parking within your premises, lots of businesses have signs saying vehicles will be towed at owner's expense, and they have a contract with a tow company.
We have that as well. But the problem is these guys stay on the truck because they wait for calls because of the highway, it's closed, and then they just leave. Probably they stay 10 minutes, and I keep telling them when I'm here, it's not allowed. And, once I leave, then
You have 2 uses on this site, I believe, gas sales and convenience store. That's all you have that you can use this site for. Gas sales, convenience store. Anything else other than that is not permitted on this site. Therefore, if at any time a commissioner drives by that site and notes a use contrary to those 2 uses that are allowed on that site, then you run the risk of having that grant revoked by the BSA. It's that simple. We don't really care if it was your fault or your friend's fault or your cousin's fault or the people across the street who aren't listening and are just using your place as a dumping ground. If you can't manage your site effectively and ensure that the only 2 uses on your site are gas sales and convenience store, then we're going to revoke that grant. It's that simple. We don't have to listen to this back and forth. Well, when did you note it? Because 1 hour later it wasn't there. We don't care.
Okay. Any other questions from the councils?
Go to the public.
All right, let's, any questions from the commissioners? Do we have to go to the public for compliance? No, we don't need to go to the.
Okay, fine. I'm just asking.
All right, we are going to keep the record open, and please address these issues. What you need to look at is your operational plan, how to address the on-site and off-site vehicles parking illegally, operations that are not permitted by the board, revising the plans that shows how the greening of that fenced area is going to be done. And that's that, okay? And provide all the improved treatments up with photos. And I want the landscaping to be done, not just shown in the plan.
Okay, thank you. Move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
Special order calendar, new cases. Item number 15-246-898-BZ, 53-15/21 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
This would be Jerry Caliendo's office.
Sandy Agnostu. Wait, is Sandy there? What am I doing?
I don't see Sandy.
Sorry, that's just like an.
Oh, I do see
Sandy is
Sandy. I
there.
do see Sandy. I do see
Yeah.
Sandy.
I knew it. I saw it in a match
No, she's all the way at the.
at the bottom. Yeah, I know.
Good afternoon, Sandy Anagnostu, and I'm also joined by Gerald J. Caliendo, architect. He's in the waiting room.
Yes, I see him.
Anyone else in your team?
No,
Camera. There you go, just press start.
there he is.
Oh, Mr. Caliendo, nice to see you after all this time.
Good to see you guys too, commissioners.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session, whoever is the lead.
Sandy Anagnostu, I'll quickly respond to some of the comments and then we'll get into the specific zoning resolution text discussion with which Jerry can add to, but we do feel that the reinstatement is required. We did refer this to the Department of Buildings and they issued a denial. Although for the enclosed showroom, it's as of right under the city of Yes, and there will be no prepping of cars and no repairs. And to Commissioner Otley Brown's statement, there is a typo on page 3 of the statement of facts. I apologize for that, but there will be no repairs and no prepping of cars. So I'm sorry about that confusion. The community board held a land use committee meeting on this application and a public hearing, and the vote was split. You have their letter of recommendation. 13 in favor, 19 opposed, and 1 not entitled to vote. There are actually, I believe, 50 community board members, and not everyone was there at the hearing. So perhaps the vote might have been different. I don't know, but it was split. It wasn't unanimous. One of the community board members lives in this particular neighborhood, and she spoke against the application. But I just want to note that there were no residents who spoke against the application at the land use committee meeting or at the public hearing. We submitted, so the issues were brought up regarding the use of the property, and in prior years, there were some vehicles that were parked on the street, and we also identified that through the Google Street View photos. But I just want to emphasize, since we are removing the auto repair, it actually, I don't think has been used as auto repair since 2018. there will be no cars waiting for repairs at the site. We show on sheet P4 the vehicular maneuverability going in and out of the site. We're providing 23 spaces that are allocated for the display of automobiles in the open area and 2 customer parking spaces. So there'll be no cars waiting for repairs here, and that will have a huge impact on just having the cars within the property and not having this them spill out onto the sidewalk. There was also, we're aware that there's a plan for this by community boards, Community Board 1 and Community Board 2, but in this particular site, there are many other land uses, retail uses. There's a McDonald's drive-through, and I can open the photos here to show that, but there's an adjacent McDonald's drive-through parking lot. There's Staples. There's a lot of retail uses immediately adjacent to this property. There was some discussion on why don't you put retail here or a community facility use? And we submitted a letter in our notice of comments response from Hiram Rothkrug Environmental Studies Corporation, which actually this has a discussion about this that shows the proposed use, which is eliminating the auto repair, actually has less of an impact than a local retail, community facility, medical office, or a restaurant. And you have that in the submission. This property has been in continuous use since the last grant, and actually pre-1961, it was a gas station, and we submitted, along with copies of the leases and Google Street View photos and the attorney's affirmation, surrender agreement, which shows that the previous tenant moved out and surrendered the property on December 12th, 2024. The photographs that were submitted to the record were dated May 13th, 2025. This is to Commissioner Shetta's comment, and June 16th, 2025. And those, I can open them here, but yeah, all the photographs have the dates on them.
So,
May I share my screen?
Ms. Agnosto, sorry.
Yeah.
I think that I appreciate the and the information that you provided in the context. I'm very, very, very familiar with this particular site. And I would say, and based on the Google Street View and the aerial view that I'm looking at, since 2018, I've been familiar with the site since 2018. And since 2018, you're right, I've never seen this site being used for auto repair. However, it has all along since then has been used for auto sales.
Yes.
And vehicles are parked, most of the vehicles, there is actually no capacity to store any vehicles inside the building. All the vehicles are almost, there are like few vehicles that are parked for display inside. Majority of the vehicles for sales are parked on the open parking area. I still question DOB's determination. I don't know if DOB make this determination or it's your interpretation, because I do not read the zoning resolution section as you stated. And as I mentioned, we did approve another case which was similarly situated in Queens on Northern Boulevard and Clearview Expressway, which was in a C2 where the use is permitted as of right, and there is both showroom inside and outside, and DOB believed that that is a permitted use. It's only what was not permitted, as you mentioned, the preparation and repair work was not permitted. So I would strongly urge you to get a clear read from DOB directly before you take the next step. The second part of the question is if DOB does determine that you need, because of the outdoor use, the way the parking space is laid out and currently has been used, as to my knowledge, up till February of last year, when I last used that site, there were parking on the sidewalks. And that is because there was only one way of entering and exiting the site, and that was from Northern Boulevard. Though there is curb cut located elsewhere, but for whatever reason, it was always used for entry and exit, which ended up being vehicles parked on the sidewalk. And I am looking at the Google Street View, which shows vehicles are parked on the sidewalk. And it has been used as only for sales, not for repair. So these vehicles that are parked on the sidewalks were vehicles awaiting sales or customer vehicles, whichever way it is. So I will strongly suggest that if you're going to proceed with a much better plan whereby you're not going to have any vehicles parking on the sidewalk, especially along Northern Boulevard, along that little stretch between Northern Boulevard and Broadway, and also on Broadway. All three frontages always have had vehicles parked whenever I've gone there. So the maneuverability plan that you have shown here is not working. As far as from my experience, you need to do something different. And you may need to do this. Wide turn movement does not work. Vehicles, there isn't enough capacity within the building for vehicles to be parked inside. All the vehicles are parked outside. If you have to do a U-turn so a vehicle can come in and come out from Northern Boulevard or exit on 53rd Street. But you are, what you're proposing currently, I would say does have issues.
What we're proposing is using the curb cut on Broadway. So you're saying,
Hold on one second.
yeah, can I share? I'm sharing my screen here. Do you see that?
Sure.
Yeah, we wanted to avoid any ingress and egress on Northern, and we were showing it on the Broadway side of the site.
I understand that, but the maneuverability, the way it is in reality, how many number of vehicles that are parked there in reality probably has more, there are probably more vehicles that are parked than shown. Those aisle spaces that are indicated have in the past been used as storage of vehicles. And so leaves with almost very little maneuverability on the site. So additional vehicles are stored during for maneuverability purposes or for storing purposes along the sidewalk, both on 53rd and also on Broadway side. So all I'm saying is this plan is not, as laid out, is not working, because a vehicle that is parked there has to make a U-turn, and there isn't enough space for the U-turn. So they're either backing up or making that wide turn, which is also does not happen. So I have never seen this site operating in the way this plan has been laid out.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll work on that. In terms of the signage, Commissioner Yoon had a comment. We have signage analysis. Calculations were submitted, and P3 shows non-illuminated sign summary, which would comply with the C2 district.
Ms. Agnosto, what you need to do is you need to do a sign analysis for each frontage and show that for each frontage you are not, you are less than the required amount. I think your total.
It says that you're permitted 633 square feet. I believe that non-illuminated signage in a C2 is capped at 3 times the frontage or 150 square feet, whichever is less.
The signage I'm looking at here, I'll check the Are you saying the calculation or what's on the plan? Because
Calculation is calculating 3 times the street frontage. The statute says that you're capped at 3 times the street frontage or 150 square feet, whichever is less.
okay, so we have existing 350
They have to be small.
on 53rd Place and existing 140 on Northern. So Northern 140 would comply. The existing on 53rd Place is over, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll fix that.
Yeah. The thing is, this is a new proposal, isn't it? So the existing signage
It's
is.
gonna change. We don't know yet who the dealer will be, but we'll comply with the C2 district, but the signage will change, I believe.
A note should be added that the signage shall comply with the underlying zoning regulations and for DOB to approve. We are not waiving, and state that BSA is not waiving any signage requirements.
Okay, we'll add that. So going back to, and then Commissioner Sheta, besides the photo dates, which are on the photographs, mentioned add the block and lot to the statement of facts. We'll do that. So going back to the discussion about the zoning text.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's, I'm just sharing the screen here. So, Jerry, do you want to?
Yeah, if you don't, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So commissioners, I met with Commissioner Ira Gluckman and discussed this project. And I'm actually also aware of the example that was made on Northern Boulevard at the Clearview Expressway. But I wasn't the applicant for that action, but I am the applicant for this action. And so when I look at the zoning resolution as per City of Yes, it's very clear. And when I explained, and when I discussed it with Commissioner Gluckman, the only time you're allowed in a C2 zone, or the only time you're allowed open parking, open sales, you'll see in the diagram, is in a C8 where it says a U. Now, if I was, and then in the C2 zone, which I outlined in pink, you only have the P. And the P is for additional conditions. The additional conditions apply in this particular case in an auto use as preparation of cars, which we're not doing. So if it was permitted, the U would have been under the C2 zone next to the P as highlighted in the C3 zone for boat dealers. As you can see, it's a permitted use, there's additional conditions, and the boats can be open. In this particular case for auto sales is a permitted use, albeit only enclosed. But the only enclosed also have a condition, which is the P, which says you can't have preparation of cars. But it does not have the U, which is the open sales.
I do want to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had brought up, if I can share my screen for just a second. I think I may have said something in error earlier during the review session. If I can share my screen, I think you need to stop sharing in order for me to share.
Sandy.
Okay.
Hey, Commissioner.
I'm just pulling up 3210, which is the general use allowances section for commercial districts. And so it does spell out the top level and the second level. And the second level is, as Mr. Caliendo was saying, where you get the SP or U designations. And I had talked about this line here, where use is permitted and no second level symbology is included, the use is permitted without size restrictions, additional conditions, or open use allowances. What I realize is there is a second level symbology included in the C2 for auto dealer, and that's a P. And as I think Mr. Caliendo is saying, the P has specific additional conditions, but explicitly does not include an open use allowance, which is the U designation. So as I was looking at it through the break, I'm starting to understand where Mr. Caliendo is coming from, which is not how I had read it before.
So even though they're not proposing any outdoor vehicle preparation, the unenclosed use of vehicle sales is not permitted in the C2.
Because yes, and then when you look at use group 6, this is 32-164, uses subject to open use allowances. It spells out very specifically what uses in use group 6 are permitted to have open use allowances, and none of which are in a C2 district, a auto dealer. So this, I don't know, I think I'm kind of doing this on the fly, but I'm starting to realize that maybe I had a, yeah. I'm sorry I cut you off, Mr. Caliendo, but I wanted to correct maybe what I had said earlier during the review session.
Believe me, I would prefer not to come to the board and waste your time, nor my time, nor my client's time. But the fact is that I believe wholeheartedly the way I read the law and the way Commissioner Gluckman saw it went the denial, that this is the law. And that's what I see.
Maybe offline, we need to go through. Okay, but I think because I would just started to put through other uses where there may or may not be a use, it might be good for offline, us to as well talk.
Yeah, we need to do this offline and get a read because this is something we need to have a clarity for all other cases. So
Maybe we can get clarification from city planning as well, because they wrote this. It's,
yes,
We could do that too.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, but I think going back to it, if it is that you need to be before us, you need to revise the plan and specifically, I want to know how many vehicles are going to be parked at a given time on the site. And the spaces should be very clearly demarcated and striped. And a moving lane should be very clearly outlined. Also for fire egress and ingress to the site to ensure that. So those need to be very clearly delineated.
Also, there's a lot of curb cuts that don't seem to be used, so if they are indeed not being used and there are fences around the perimeter, then you should propose to restore the sidewalks
When it's not spelled out.
or justify the use of those curb cuts.
It's the other way. That's the rule 1 zoning.
there are 25 spaces. There are shown and numbered on the plan. But Jerry, we'll look at a better vehicular accessibility, maneuverability plan.
Right, and if you don't need those curb cuts on the other frontages, to remove them. But if you do need it, let's say if it is going to be of help in terms of circulation, especially like, let's say you're going to exit on 53rd. And then you can merge onto Northern Boulevard. Or if you want to have all your exit exits and entry on Northern, then have two curb cuts on Northern or have a U-turn type of some kind of operation, because I know for a fact it is not possible from what you're showing. That's not how it works. So and we are not going to monitor the site every day. So you have to lay it out in a way that can happen without us having to monitor it.
May I
Yeah,
add
I'm just
something,
showing, I'm
Commissioner?
just sharing the screen again here, just looking at the plan again.
I just want to point out something. This is now under new ownership, and the new owners are very much aligned with making sure that there's no parking at all on the sidewalks in any way. And we will endeavor to provide what the chair has just suggested about clear ingress and egress, ability for fire access, people to come straight in and out of the property. But also, this is a used car dealership. It has been for many years. And typically the way used car dealerships work, it's all attended parking. The person who is leasing or buying a car does not pull the car out. The salesperson pulls the car out to a safe spot where someone would take a test drive until it gets back into the lot, and then they park the car to its spot where it was prior to the test drive. The second thing is we do have adequate space within the building for at least 3 cars. And that's the way the former dealership worked. They may have even had more than 3 cars, but I believe safety-wise, 3 cars is adequate for their better sales models, and that would add to the dealership, new and used cars. As you know, in previous board cases, a lot of these dealerships now are selling cars online, so it's less of the way the car dealerships have worked in the past. So that's the model that we're using here, albeit there's new and used cars. So that's what's going to be.
I appreciate that, Mr. Caliendo. What I would want is, I want in the plan clearly outlining the areas where it's going to be maintained free and clear of vehicles for exit and operational, and where identifying the areas where the pickup of the drop-off will be, as opposed to storage of vehicles, and identify a number of vehicles that are going to be parked for sales outside, and number of vehicles that are going to be parked inside, and just provide that information. Because that way, going forward, if anybody has to ensure that building is operating in compliance, those would be the ways to ensure that.
Yes.
And we'll also revise the signage and add the notes that were mentioned.
And I would say remove, as Commissioner Yoon mentioned, those curb cuts that are not being used on Northern Boulevard and 53rd. If you're not going to use it, close it and restore the curb cuts. And add that note to the plan and submit the builder's pavement plan along with this.
And if you could also just make it clear where you propose, there's existing chain link fence around the entire perimeter of the site, and it doesn't look like it's operable. So please make it clear what the proposal is for where the fence will be continuous and where there will be openings.
I think there is an opening on the fence on the 53rd and on the Northern Boulevard.
Okay, based on their photos, I can't see it, but
this was from my.
Definitely on Northern, there is no opening when I went by the site.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's, or maybe anyway, if you could just make that very clear what the proposal is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a rolling gate.
Yeah, I see one now on 53rd. I just didn't see one on Northern, and I don't see them coinciding with the curb cut location. So- But the plans also just should make it clear what the proposal is for this new owner.
And it is possible you may need it for emergency exits and things like that, but you need to then clarify that.
Okay,
Okay, how much time will you need? Let's go to the public first, and then we can talk about the timing and you can remove whoever is sharing the screen, please stop sharing the screen. Thank you.
yes.
Let's go.
Yes, the case that we're currently discussing is 24638 BZ. Excuse me. 53-1521 Northern Boulevard, Queens. Should you wish to comment on this case, please dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the webinar ID number 160-851-8446 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute as you're calling in from the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're recognized, you'll have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
How much time will you need?
I mean, the revisions are pretty simple, not more than 2 weeks. And for us to refer to city planning and DOB as well.
Okay, I don't think this can be scheduled in August. If anything, it would have to be in September. And we have
September 8th, 9th?
September 8th, 9th is
Or the
one
29th
with
is
submission due on August 21st, and the other one is September 29th, 30th, with submission due on September 11th.
So September 8th and 9th?
With a submission date of August 21st. Can you make that?
Yes, yes. Yes, that's almost a month. A little, well, 3 weeks.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
thank
you.
you. No one is
Thank you
called
very
yet.
much.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Item number 168599 BZ Volume 5, 1106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx.
I think we should still have Mr. Ash and his. Oh, no, they're not there.
Ooh, they left.
Mr. Ash is there.
Yes, I'm still here.
Sure.
And
Just Ash.
Anybody else from
Deanna,
your?
yes, Deanna Wasco is on as well.
Okay, so it's just you two?
Yes, the Associate General Counsel.
Okay. Raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments.
Daniel Ash from Walter Gorman Engineering.
Deanna Wasco, Associate General Counsel with Global Partners LP.
We did, you're hearing us from us again. We heard your comments for the extension of time case. And it sounded like a good compromise if you allow the extension of time to proceed. That would allow us to obtain the TCO while also keeping the compliance hearing open to make sure that all other conditions are complied with, if you still feel that way.
Can I ask you a question? Why is it TCO? You already have a TCO. What will it take for you to go from TCO to CO?
To get a final C of O, we will get a final C of O, but in the time frame that it takes to get the board, the DOB to even get to the TCO portion, we have to get a construction inspection and then we'll clear out the violation. But because the violation has to do with getting a final C of O, You have to get a TCO first, then use that to clear the violations, and then go back again for final CFO. I'm just afraid of timing. We do want to get a CFO eventually, but the extension of time, I don't want you to have to give us so many a year to get it done. But the TCO we feel we can get relatively quickly.
No, I need to, I don't want to just give you extension of time for TCO. I want to give you extension of time to get a CO because this project has not gotten a CO in, I don't know, when is the last time it had a CO? I don't
think it ever had.
Exactly. You answered my question. Therefore, we need a CO. So if I'm going to give you an extension of time, it has to be for a CO. So what's the amount of time you need to get a CO?
That'll be at least 6 months.
Okay, all right. All right. Any questions or comments? And since you had a TCO, I'm assuming you probably have most of these issues addressed except for some of the outstanding oath violations. And those are zoning and construction related, again, because of all the violations that we have noticed. You need to correct those. And I'm glad DOB is checking in on exactly the issues that we have filed violations of. I have called the compliance hearing on. Let's go to the public. Mhm.
The case that we're currently discussing is 8599 BZ Volume 5, 11106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx. Should you wish to comment on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the webinar ID number 160851-8446 and press the pound sign. At the prompt after that, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you'll press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're the Zoom room already, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen, please raise your hand at the little bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Can I ask one thing administratively? Because with the plantings that we had discussed and putting in the above ground planter in lieu of the in-ground plantings in the rear, to get that on an approved plan, would that be under the compliance hearing or does that have to be under the extension of time hearing?
We can put that under the compliance. I'm assuming changing the planting is not going to change your CO.
It will be, the violation was for the that planting area. So to clear that violation, I want to make sure we.
Right, you would have to revise yes, you would have to, I forgot that, yes, the violation was for planting. You would have to revise it. Yeah.
Okay, so if we approve that under the compliance hearing at our next hearing, when we make our submission, then I'll need that to clear the violation. So I'm just afraid time-wise, if we don't have our next hearing set up for the compliance yet, and then you'll need time to approve the drawing after the hearing concludes, that then 6 months might not be sufficient.
Well, what we can do is we will not vote on it until you submit a revised plan. And it would be 6 months from that period.
Okay,
So,
but you are, for
go
the
ahead.
extension of time, you will close this at a future hearing?
We can close it now with the, and when we schedule it for decision, you need to submit a revised plan showing the planting. And it's not just a planting on the plan, but I also want to see the section. We'll send you a detail, the kind of detail that we want for above ground planting that needs to be included, and the kind of planting that is going to be kind of plants that's going to be put there. All of those need to be included into that plan set. We will review that. And then if acceptable, we will take a decision to grant an extension of time. From then onwards, 6 months will apply for you to obtain the CO and then proceed. We will continue with the compliance.
Okay.
That Does that work for everybody? Okay,
So do you want to close now?
yeah, we can close now.
Motion to close, Chair Shonda,
Aye?
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment, a statement, not for this case, sorry, go ahead, I apologize. Just note for the parties that 2024-47A, 2315B Demeyers Street in Bronx, that case was deferred, the decision was deferred, and no testimony will be taken today. So for the parties that are from Buildings Department and Mr. Vitucci, you may leave the room. Thank you.
Did Mr. Ash just leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, we didn't decide on a decision date.
Well, we'll let him know.
So we'll let, okay.
Yeah.
He's back.
Oh, wait, you back?
You need me? Yes, still here.
I just want to
How
know
much time?
how much time you would need to revise the plans and submit.
And you want the plantings completed. So once I get the details from you, we can update the plans and then get the contractor to install the landscaping.
Okay.
That should take 2 months.
We'll do it for September, the first week of September. That'll give you enough time. Yeah, so we'll
if we-
expect decision September 8, 9.
Yes, if you can get us those details, please, as soon as you can, we'll get right on that.
Yeah. Okay, did we close?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I was just taking notes and everything. Huh? Go ahead. What? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ash.
Thank you.
Okay, are we good? We're done?
Yeah.
Okay. Zoning calendar,
Sorry.
new cases, that's good.
Sorry.
Item number 17, 2025-13 BC, 1946 Bruckner Boulevard, the Bronx.
This would be Mr. Mulligan.
Please raise your hands if you're part of the team. Makes it easier for us to let you in. Thank
Rebecca
you.
Bodine. John. Max. Summer. Oops. Are you doing it? Okay.
Mr. Mulligan, we have a couple members declining to join as panelists.
Let's see, on the team, there's
Alberones Cuevas,
not on the team.
they will stay in the waiting room.
Yeah, I think I see the team members all here. Right hand.
I see.
Goodbye. Oh, they remember public? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Everyone that's part of the team, I'm going to swear you in. Raise your right hands and unmute, please. Just make sure you're unmuted so I can hear your eye. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes.
I do.
Okey doke. Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session. And I assume, Mr. Milligan, you're the lead.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Chanda and Commissioners. Good to see you all. It's been a couple of years. Jeff Mulligan from HSF Kramer. The firm's name has changed, FYI. So we attended the review session and we'll respond to the comments. I do have Brian Weinberg here from Langen Engineering, so he can handle the traffic issues. So I'll go through the other items first. In terms of the community board, I'm sorry, were both items called or are we just doing the first?
Right now, Jeff.
Just the first one.
That's Bruckner. Yeah.
The Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Okay. So while some of these will apply obviously to the other item, in terms of the community board's recommendation. So this property owner has a very good relationship with the community board. The community board is actually a tenant at Bruckner Commons. and works with them very closely on various community initiatives. In terms of their concern about a cut through bypassing White Plains Road, the owner is planning on installing speed bumps in the event that this does serve as some sort of cut through to sort of slow down traffic as it goes through the parking lot. So they are working with the community board on that. There are no open violations on either of the sites, no prior BSA decisions. The impound facility is a thing of the past now. As of last week, it is no longer there, getting the site ready for construction. No impound facility at the property.
It was there on Wednesday and it was very much still active last week.
Just this past Wednesday. Okay, all right, but I am informed, and we will double confirm that it is no longer there. Let me see. I think a lot of the things that Chair Chanda, you mentioned the reference to entering the site from Story Avenue in the narrative. I believe I just mentioned that in the context of, if I did the word search properly between review session and the hearing now, just to identify that you could enter the site from Story Avenue, but obviously the expectation is that vehicles will enter off of Bruckner Boulevard because it's so close to the Chick-fil-A. I mean, let me know if I should do anything else with the narrative, but I think that was the only reference to coming off of Story. And I think that everything else was for Chipotle. So, in terms of the 50% drive-through parking split, that is based on information from the operators. I don't think that there's actual hard data on this, but it is based on their experience of running the many successful drive-throughs throughout the country. I would also note that there is significant excess capacity here in terms of reservoir spaces. There's a requirement for 10, and we've got 32 at Chick-fil-A. So in the event that it is greater than 50%, we've really got a lot of capacity here. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to Brian Weinberg, who will address the questions on the queuing analysis. Brian?
Hi, my name is Brian Weinberg. I'm with Langen Engineering. So to address the question about the trip generation used in the queuing analysis, I can confirm it was based on the Saturday peak hour, which is the highest peak hour that was analyzed in the trip gen assessment. How we got to the numbers shown in the hourly demand input was that the trip generation, as shown in the statement, is total of ins and outs. So every unique vehicle that visits the site, has an inbound trip and an outbound trip. So the number of hourly demand that's put into the queuing analysis is unique vehicles, not total trips. So we took the total trips as shown in that trip generation assessment and divided by 2 to get to the number of unique vehicles. From that number, we then split it to 50-50 for the half go to the park and go inside, and half go into the drive-through lane. So essentially 25% of the total trip generation number is the number that's shown in the hourly demand.
So am I wrong in reading this? Because the table 4 is broken up into local retail, then fast food restaurant 1, which is Chipotle, then fast food restaurant 2, which is Chick-fil-A, and the total. So did you use the total, or you use the fast food restaurant 2 Saturday peak, and then did the 25% of that? That's
right. We used fast food restaurant 2 Saturday
okay.
Peak 217. 25% of that rounded. That gets you to the number that was used in the queuing analysis.
And that's the question. Why did you use 25%? Because in your analysis, you said there was 50%, 50% of the peak demand. So
Right,
if is
yes, so,
360,
sorry, go ahead.
if Saturday peak is 364 in, it's 50% of that then? Oh, sorry, which chart am I looking? I'm looking at table 3. That's not the one. The table 4 is the proposed condition. So table 4, Saturday peak in is 226. So of 226, if we were to use 50% as a split, so am I wrong to assume that 50% of that is going to go to the drive-through and 50% is going to park or be using pickup?
So first divide that total in half, because that total is the sum of inbound trips and outbound trips. So first you have to get the number of unique vehicles. So the number of unique vehicles is half the total trips. So each unique vehicle makes 2 trips, an inbound and an outbound. So you take I believe the number is 217, the total number of total vehicles that are inbound, or total vehicles shown from restaurant 2 for Saturday. 217, divide that by 2. That gives you your total unique vehicles coming to the site, and then divide that again, or apply the 50-50 split to half of 217. And that's how you get the number that would go into the drive-through.
It's auto. It says.
Jerry, you're in and out.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, now it's good. Okay, I am sorry, my apologies. I was looking at the wrong column. I should have looked at the first column, which says auto, and then work off that. So I think is that the way?
Yes, that 217 that you just had highlighted. Right.
Can you?
So, yes, the number you have highlighted on screen, 217. That's the total number of. To be conservative, we're including the taxis, with the autos. So that total 217, divide that in half, gets you the number of unique vehicles that are at the site. Because every unique vehicle makes an inbound trip and an outbound trip. So they have 2 trips. So divide it in half to get the number of unique vehicles. And then from there, you apply the 50-50. So it's half of half, that 217.
Okay. And then half of that half of that half. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
If you want, you could just look at, for example, the outbound, say 110. The row just above that. The 110, out of the total outbound, that's the higher of the in versus out, 106 versus 110. So take the 110 and then apply the 50-50 to that number, that gets you the 55.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, and the 50% is coming from other similar operation?
This is the split between the parking versus going to the drive-through.
Yeah.
Yes, this was discussed just before, but this is the information received from the operators.
Right. And based on their other operations experience.
And these are mostly based in the New York area or similarly positioned areas?
I believe this is the first Chick-fil-A drive-through in New York City, but yeah, I know that there's some, they looked at some on Long Island, for example. But of course, Chick-fil-A is throughout the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible to verify this by doing any on-site counting?
Again, I think we don't have hard data on it. It is based on, their experience and their understanding of the split. But we don't have the numbers that we could give you.
No, and what I'm saying is I'm not looking for a number. I'm looking for yes, I understand it's based on their experience. But if someone can go to one of their sites and count within a specific time window. Oh, sorry.
Can I make a suggestion? In this case, the reason I'm asking for, like, I just want to make sure whether there is some evidence, and you're stating that you have similar operation in other areas based on which the operators have indicated 50-50 split is what works. And it would be helpful if you can put it in writing as to the similarities and the kind of other similar sites, and, you know, and basically what that how many vehicles are coming up, not how many vehicles, but basically you have similar layout configurations and operational practices. A qualitative statement that would be helpful.
Yeah.
In this case, what is unusual is that we do not see so many drive-through reservoir spaces. And I think that's why it's 3 times, right? So that's why I'm okay in this particular case, not having that detail, but more of a qualitative assessment is what I would like on this one, as to how you're arriving at the 50-50.
What I was like getting at is not like a complete traffic survey at one of the sites. What I was talking about is like if Mr. Wimbing can send a staff engineer or even an intern for like 2 hours to one of the sites at one of the like peak hours based on an advice from the operator, that staff person can stay there for 2 hours and just count whatever is in and how many is going to park and how many is going to the drive-through, and that's how we can like get a good guesstimate for the split instead of like just getting the word from the operator. That's what I was getting at. It's not gonna be costly. It's gonna cost 2 hours of a staff or an intern. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah.
Is that doable and makes sense?
I just
we
worry
could
that we,
discuss.
just to interrupt, because there are so many standards and guidelines for how to do count analyses like this. So there would need to be some specific guidance on when and how such an analysis was to be done. So I feel like it opens a can of worms to then providing an exhaustive analysis that meets all of the standards that one would typically see in that kind of count.
Yeah.
That's exactly my concern.
Yeah. I think a qualitative statement, I would be satisfied with that.
Okay, and we can provide that. We'll work with the operator on getting that. I think there was one other question, Commissioner Sheta, you had
regarding the sound, yes.
Regarding the sound, yeah. We will remove those sheets because we agree with you that at least at this location, it's not that relevant. But in terms of I'm forgetting which member of the team, Rebecca, were you the one we selected? Max, sorry, Max Stember-Young from Langen was going to answer your question.
Hi, Chair Shanda and board. Thank you for having us. I'm Max Stember-Young from Langen Engineering. Max Meltzer from Langen has also raised his hand and should be a panelist. So if you could please promote him when you have a second, that would be helpful as well. Commissioner Sheta, regarding your question about the noise. So the environmental assessment statement provided graphics that showed noise from the individual ordering boards and the projected noise levels emanating from those menu boards. The analysis showed that a noise level would not extend more than 30 decibels beyond the site, just based on the menu board itself. However, as I think was noted during review session, Bruckner Boulevard is likely the dominant noise source in the area. So by the time a user is on, say, the sidewalk, they're going to hear Bruckner Boulevard traffic.
Max, I want to save your time. I don't have concerns regarding noise. My point was this: the way you put the charts, the plan, and the cross sections, is you gave me an impression that, let's say this site was adjacent to residential. And you don't have to answer this if you don't want, but this is, you're educating me actually. My point is, you put the two menu boards as two separate components, like there is no interaction between them. But my point is this, if there are two sound sources next to each other, when they emit sound waves, it's gonna be some sort of additive action between them, right?
That's correct.
And did you consider that additive action into, like, in the graphs that you provided?
While Bowler's drawings do not show an additive, there's a sort of component of noise to understand here is that to double the noise, well, noise adds logarithmically, so
yes,
it doesn't add linearly. So you need to double the noise. If you double the noise, the sound pressure level, you're creating a 3 decibel change. So what you're seeing in the EAS could only be up to 3 decibels more than what is shown.
Understood. You answered my question. I got the point.
Yep.
And I just wanted to like learn about this because we may have a site similar to this one, but next to a residential property line. And in this case, they cannot like consider them as two separate components, like one in Queens and one in Staten Island. They need to consider some sort of like adding the decibels in a certain way. And like you said, I understand that it's done logarithmically. It's not linear addition. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you for the question.
With that in mind, I think in the plan, don't need to include the soundboard and the lighting because
they're not needed.
Right, they're not needed. Only thing, add a general note that with regards to lighting, that the lighting would be
it wouldn't be below the code mandated minimum. This is the only portion of the note that's needed because we don't have any adjacent residential here.
Any adjacent residential, and I doubt it. You're going to have huge line posts that's going to be, and your signage should also comply with all the underlying signage regulations in terms of the height and illumination. I'm hoping we're not going to have another of those massive signage.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Okay.
Okay, what are we doing?
Let's go to the public. And please revise your plan to indicate the location where you're proposing the what is it?
Speed bumps.
The speed bumps and the width of the curb cuts. Though I have to say for Chick-fil-A, I mean, why are we assuming that only entry and exit will be happening from the Bruckner Boulevard? Couldn't some vehicles be coming from White Plains or even from Story Avenue to join the queue? Why was that division made that it would always be from Bruckner?
I'll let the engineers handle it. I know that there is no curb cut from White Plains, but Max.
Well, there's a curb cut from White Plains to the parking lot, so one could enter from White Plains and then
It goes to Story.
Yeah, Story.
Just Story, yeah.
or from Story. All right, White Plains.
Story is like a through.
Yeah, Bruckner and Story are parallel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max or Brian, do you want to address the assumption there?
Brian, I think that's you.
Is this responding to the auto turn analyses that were shown in?
Yeah,
sample plans?
the assumption that the vehicles exit off of Bruckner and not Story.
From Bruckner.
I don't think that was in our memo, Jeff.
No.
Sorry.
So this is showing, I see. So this is showing, yeah, the vehicles coming in and off. So that's the expectation. The consistency with the tech memo on that.
This is showing an auto turn analysis. So it's showing the profile of the cars coming from Bruckner Boulevard into the site and then leaving the site and showing how the turning radiuses work. So this doesn't preclude vehicles from coming into Story Ave.
I see.
Or from Story Ave. This is just showing how the turning works on the plan here.
Ah, okay. I see.
Right. So once you're on the site, you could come in from Bruckner and then use the parking area to maneuver or drive over to the Chipotle drive lane if you wanted to. This is again just showing the turn in and out from the street network.
I see. Okay, got it.
That's
You
okay.
want
Yeah.
access the site from Story also. It's just that you, because that's not a map street, you were not showing that.
If preferred, an additional circulation plan can be added to the set showing access off of Story Boulevard. This is just the highest constraint point.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question because when we review Chipotle, in Chipotle, you do show the entrance from Story Avenue. So I think just for consistency purposes, it would be helpful if you show the entire site and the access to the site from all the various entry points, including Story Avenue and Bruckner, and show the maneuverability from all points.
Okay, we can add a sheet into a set for that. There is an overall plan. The purpose of zooming in on individual sheets is just for clarity and being able to read things.
Yeah. Let's go to, are there any additional questions for our team? Okay, let's go to the public.
Okay, the case that we're currently discussing is 2025 13BZ, 1946 Bruckner Boulevard, the Bronx. Should you wish to comment on this case, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the Weber ID number 160-851-8446 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, press star 9 to raise your hand, star 6 to unmute, press star 6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone in order to be heard. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hands at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're recognized, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss. As this the Albornoz Cuevas person?
Hi. Hi, how are you, Commissioner? So I am currently an operator for Chick-fil-A. I currently own a Chick-fil-A at Washington Heights. So I'm very familiar with the area and I kind of covered the Bronx as well. So I will be the operator looking to relocate to that location. So I can clarify some of your concerns regarding the drive-through. So what we do with Chick-fil-A is we had designated team members we hire within the community to really patrol the area. And what I mean by that is our queue in the drive-through can handle up to 60 cars at a time. And we usually are very efficient on moving the traffic up. So some of those concerns regarding, traffic is something that we handle very well. I have experience, working in other Chick-fil-A that have a drive-through and have a high capacity as well. So, that's some of the things that we do to alleviate traffic. So we always had designated people outside, just upstreaming the line and taking order, making sure that the line never becomes too full. Our speed for the time a person enters the drive-through, by the time they leave, is about 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So no one called in and raised their hand except Mr. Cuevas.
Yes, it seems no one else has called in. So
Any other, well, when I have you on the phone, so we don't have any other questions or concerns that you may have that you can ask me as an operator. Very familiar with Chick-fil-A drive-through on how we run our business. So it would be owned by me, so I would be the future operator of that location. So we're looking to hire people with the community. You know, and we are very excited for obviously giving the opportunity to have the restaurant in this community.
Thank you. Yes, one of our speaks highly of the lane busting technique that Chick-fil-A uses. So we are familiar with your with their techniques. So appreciate it. Thank you and wish you all the best. Are there any questions or comments? So I have a question. Do you feel inclined to close it and keep the record open for some of the clarifications that we had asked for?
Yeah.
Mr. Cuevas, am I pronouncing his name correctly?
Al Cuevas. Al Cuevas.
Al Cuevas, Mr. Cuevas, do you have still something else to add? Because if not, you can lower your hand.
No, I really, from an operation perspective, I can tell you that, you know, some of your concerns we acknowledge, but I think having the experience that we have handling drive-throughs and throughput, it shouldn't be an issue for us to make sure that the traffic never gets into Bronner Boulevard and the cars are queuing in. Once they get to the queue, you know, they will wrap around. And like I said, our service is under 5 minutes, but the time a person gets to the drive-thru by the time they get their food. So the drive-thru will always keep moving. We have, you know, I'm looking to hire for that location over 120 people. So the way we operate is we hire a lot of people within the community that live in this area. I have team members right now that live in that area as well. So operational will be ready if you give us the opportunity to have the drive-through in that particular area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a recommendation that we show the access points, provide an updated letter on the 50, how did you arrive? You arrived at the 50%, the qualitative assessment. Okay, yeah.
Do you want to ask Jeff how much time you need?
How much time will you need?
Not much time. You know, we can submit in a week.
Cases.
Just for those revisions, that shouldn't be a problem.
Not it goes to September.
Okay, we'll schedule this for August. Decision, I will recommend that we close, keep the record open.
When would
How
they
are we on the environmental, Ms. Benke? I'm sorry, that's a critical factor.
There's no other open reviews.
Okay, so
Any changes to the information in the traffic should be added to the EAS. Might have one edit as well.
All right, then close, keep the record open for August submission. And I think the August
submission date is already passed.
Yes,
August
it's
11th.
passed. So that's what I'm
11,
looking
12,
at the calendar. I'm just looking at the calendar date. Let me just look at the calendar.
Give him a week before, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think 1 week should be fine because it's minor changes. Yeah, 1 week before.
The 11th?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 week before.
11 or 12, Jeff. So it'd be 1 week before submission would do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's close. Motion to close. Chair Shonda.
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown. Commissioner Sheta.
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next item number 18, 2025 14BZ 911 Story Avenue, the Bronx. Anyone else is going to come in, Jeff?
It's the same crew.
Same crew? Okay, everybody still got to raise their hands. This is a new case. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, but not, do you affirm to tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond only to the board member questions?
I do.
I do.
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed to respond to the board's comments at review session.
Jeff Mulligan, HSF Kramer. So the Chipotle application, I think the focus here was on operations, given it's a bit unique. So when customers place the order on the mobile app, they select whether they're going to pick it up in the store or the drive-through option. And if they select the drive-through option, then they're notified that the order is confirmed, notified that it's being prepared, and then when it is ready, they'll get a notice. The customer is advised through the app to not come to the drive-through pickup window until the order is ready. If they do reach the pickup window before it's ready, they're directed to park and come back to the drive-through when they get the alert that it's ready. And there are designated spaces for Chipotle customers in the parking lot. At the pickup window, the staff, Chipotle staff will hand the food to the driver. There will be signs and pavement markings to alert all motorists that the queue is for mobile order pickups. So, people will not be driving and looking for a menu board. It says, mobile orders only. So this is new information to me too, so it's good to know.
Okay. Does the plan show the areas designated for specifically mobile pickup in the parking area? Or is it just an area that is designated for Chipotle customers, whether they are walking in or placing the order and picking up, or placing the order and picking up through the drive-through?
Rebecca, do you want to handle that one?
Yes, on the plan, there's 5 designated signage spaces. It's on BSA 004. So 3 are out front of the building in the general parking area, and 2 are to the right of the building next to ADA.
I just want to look at the plan. I don't think I captured that, so. Sorry, my computer is being a little silly.
Can you bring it up? Okay, great.
Oh, are you sharing? that
Still a
thing?
screen share.
Oh, wonderful, great. So which ones are designated, the ones that where number 11 is written?
Yeah, if you flip forward 2 sheets, so this is the overall to show the whole site, and then we zoomed in again to show some more detail. There's 3 stalls just to the south near the ADA called out as proposed pull-in parking spaces for Chipotle specifically. And they have branded signage for that, as well as near the 11 symbol that you referenced before.
Okay. I forgot to ask this question. Do you have a similar designated spot for Chick-fil-A also?
Let me double check. I don't believe so.
Perhaps because there's 32. Expectation is everyone's
Yeah.
drive.
No, and especially how Chick-fil-A handles just distribution of food as well, being able to walk out and keep cars moving through. This is more obviously ordering on the app. If you get there a little bit early, being able to park in a stall temporarily and have it reserved.
Okay. Another question that was asked by the board was, is this the first of its kind Chipotle operation, or does this operation exist somewhere?
This operation exists elsewhere in the country. It's called Chipotlane, apparently. And there's at least one other that is under construction in the city. But it was vested before the zoning change that would have required them to come to the board for the drive-through.
Okay, Chipotlane.
Chipotle. You had also,
Okay, we'll check it out.
there was also the question about the trees. But if you see on the plan, that's actually, there's the drive-through lane, then there's the vehicle circulation lane that wraps around that, and then there's the sidewalk. So there actually isn't, on the Story Avenue side, there isn't space for trees. This is actually an improvement, I believe, over the existing conditions, which has a really minimal sidewalk. So
Oh, there is no sidewalk along Story Avenue at all?
well, there isn't much of one, or there hasn't been much of one, and so they're actually putting in that 5-foot sidewalk.
Yeah.
Store.
There's currently like a 3-foot strip approximately, so we're adding an ADA access, just widening that out to 5 feet from that point, as well as an ADA sidewalk access off White Plains Road, just to the northeast of this parcel we're looking at.
Okay. Okay. All right. It would have been nice if it was possible, I understand.
I agree. And then in terms of the drive, the 50% drive-through parking split, again, the same information. It's based on the operator. I would point out here that again, we're over 10 reservoir spaces. We don't have the 32, but this is a pretty fast operation because customers are not stopping at the menu board. They've already ordered. They're just going straight to the pickup. But that said, we are providing more than the 10 reservoir spaces.
One, we would need a little bit more qualitative explanation. And also, since Chipotle is new concept, it would be helpful if you can provide that operational plan more clearly, and based on how you're arriving at the 50-50 based on similar sites where that's the split. That would be helpful.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So the data exists.
So my new mission is make US tours of all various drive-throughs of different types. No more US monuments, US drive-throughs.
Well, maybe you can get overtime for it. I don't.
Okay. Let's go to the public.
Okay. There's screen up. Thank you, Jella. So the case that we're currently discussing is 2025-14BZ, 1911 Story Avenue, the Bronx. Should you wish to comment on this application, dial 669-254-5252. At the prompt, you'll enter the Weber ID number 160-851-8446 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you'll press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute as you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to be heard, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you are recognized in any format, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
Can you indicate the width of that sidewalk along Story Avenue?
Yes, that will be added.
Okay, thank you. And I think on Story Avenue, we don't have an issue. And in this one, again, you're assuming all vehicles will be entering from Story and none from Bruckner. Is that so? The maneuverability plan?
Correct. We can add an additional sheet to this one as well, same as we are on the Chick-fil-A application.
Yeah. And also in this one, you don't need to include the lumen and the sound.
Okay.
There is no sound on this one.
Right.
No sound on this one? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, There's no.
All right.
There's
It's
no
a-
menu boards.
menu boards,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
Very quiet.
Sorry, Mr. Mo.
Okay, I will also in this one recommend we close, keep the record open for the analysis. Ms. Benke, is there any outstanding environmental?
No, just the same as I said for the previous case. Might have one edit to the EAS, and any changes should be updated in the EAS based on this discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, all right, motion to close?
Motion to
And keep
close.
the record open and submission, same time frame. Should we take the same time frame for? Okay,
Are you good with that, Mr. Mulligan?
Yes, yes, thank you.
So, Chair,
oh, for environmental, right, we have to carry them together.
Yeah.
That's true, yes.
Okay.
You're right, thank you.
Chair, for the motion to close, Chair Shonda,
Aye?
Commissioner Otley Brown. Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, one and all. This concludes the public hearing for July 28th, 2025.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Happy summer, everybody.